and language.
No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world.
You write your first draft with your heart, and you rewrite with your head.
Seize the day.
Greetings, salutations. This is, in fact, the Writer Showcase, a monthly show where we introduce some of the best indie writers from all over the world, and we have a roundtable discussion about the writing process by also taking your questions, most importantly. I'm your host, Ryan Echo Channel, and our first panelist I would like to introduce you to is someone who's, wait a minute, Great Scott. She was here before, and now she's back again. She's disrupting the space-time continuum. No, she's not. She's just an incredible writer, and she loves it so dearly that she wanted to come back for a sequel. Please welcome indie writer from the PNW, that's Pacific Northwest of the U.S. of A. Essence St. Clair is here. Hey, girl, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, we're fine. We're all fine here. Now, thank you. How are you? But we're happy that you we're happy that you are here, and we're also happy that you are back because you had such a great time the first time around. You're like, you know what, Ryan? I think I need to keep coming back to this. This is just too good to miss. I got to come back. I got to come back.
For sure.
And, yeah, and we're thankful that you are here with us, Essence St. Clair. Also joining us on this panel, wonderful indie writers. Please welcome another member of the PNWO, Pacific Northwest World Order. DM Weber is in the house. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Oh, living the dream one nightmare at a time. How are you?
That's a new one. I've never heard that before. I'm doing well, good sir. I'm thankful that you are here. I'm also thankful that this next individual is with us, and we had to make some last-minute programming note decisions. So please welcome the one who lost the sigh, but he can get it back. He can get it back. Raphael, let it go. Raphael is here. What's up, brother? How you doing? How are my fellow turtles doing in New York City?
Well, you know, we're all drowning and having some fun, and you got to see the subways.
Yeah, probably should. I just hope that I find a canister labeled with TGRI on it, and I can just transform into a mutant ninja turtle of some sort. I don't know.
No, probably not. You will.
Yeah, I know. But we're going to New York. Well, aside from that, please welcome our good friend from the great state of Georgia. Bobby Nash is in the building. How you doing, good sir?
I am good. Thanks for having me. Always good to be back.
It is, isn't it? We're thankful that you are all here. We're also thankful that you are here who are maybe watching and listening to this program. So do yourself a favor. Like and share this with everybody you know. And if you're watching this live or what is known as a replay, thank you for doing that. If you have any questions for our panel, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. More than happy to take those as they come in respectively. With that piece of business out of the way, Essence St. Clair, what is it in your mind that makes a great book?
I think a great book, you know, anybody can write a book, I think, but I feel like a great book is going to be a book that you can put pretty much all of your heart and soul into. As long as you are being passionate about it and writing about something, I feel like anything can be a great book. I want to be able to read it and be able to be in, you know, whether you're doing a first person or third person, but I want to be able to kind of feel like I'm in that book. So something that I've always thought is I want to see it as it's happening and as if it's happening to me and in front of me rather than reading it like a script. So I feel like a great book is just anything that somebody is actually passionate about and not just writing to write.
There you go. Good answer. Good answer. It's a good answer. Very good answer. There's no doubt in my mind. DM Weber, what are your thoughts on this? What is it in your mind that makes a great book? What do you think?
Well, I think it's a twofold answer. One, from the writing perspective, right? You want to write your book in a way that your reader is going to say, whoa, like, are you thinking about putting this to screen, right? Because it's just that good. And then from a reading perspective, as a reader, either, you know, memorable or relatable characters, or both, preferably. And then a plot that can literally make you forget about your basic human needs.
Wow. Okay, this is getting deep. I didn't know we were going to get this deep on a Saturday, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Appreciate the answer all the same. What about you, Raphael, from New York City, member of the TMNT crew? What are your thoughts on what is it that makes a great book or story?
Of course, you know, it has to be what the public wants. No. Can't even keep a straight face.
No, you can't because you're a jokester. I've known you too long, brother. Come on.
I gotta say, you know, the good thing about it, you want a good story. You want a story that's going to take you, put you somewhere else. put you out there, or even if it's fiction or nonfiction, you want something that will pull you in and leave you with new thoughts, new ideas, and loving what you just read.
All right, man. I like it. You've been doing this for a while, haven't you? It's good. Not really. You've only been doing it for 2 days. No, I'm just kidding. He's probably doing it longer than that. But great answer by all three of you, and the gentleman who's very good at giving us dissertations. So fasten your seatbelts, guys. Bobby, what is it that makes a great book?
I think it's something, if it grabs you, I think it has to grab you, and just something about the story, whether it's the plot, the characters, the setting, or something grabs hold of you, and you can't let go. You're kind of pulled in. And as a writer, you hope you can write that the reader can feel that. I also think it's, you kind of fall in love. Do you fall in love with the characters? Do you fall in love with the book? Do you fall in love with the villain? You can fall in love with anything, but there's something about the book that just speaks to you and makes you want to stay in that world. Like I said earlier, forgetting bodily function, you forget to go to the bathroom, you forget to sleep. Life is, that book becomes everything for you for a short time.
There you go. That was a lot shorter than I thought your dissertation was going to be on this. No, I know, because you've been with me on so many different shows. I'm like, I think he's insane.
It's different when I'm the only one here.
True. Because if Bobby and I are sitting around in our studios, folks, we can go for like 8 hours, 10 hours a day, just yakking about whatever. Honestly, just go back and look at our last episode of Frequently Fridays. We went for almost 2 hours that night. It was insane. It was insane because we were just
with no prepared topic.
No, there was no script. We didn't have a script that night, so we were just yakking. Exactly.
When you just sit there and bull.
I know, it's great. You never know what's gonna come up, and the comment section was very active that night too, which also helps. So it's also a positive in these kinds of conversations and pieces of programming, I would venture to say. But good answer, Bobby. Good answer. Thank you for keeping it to under 600 paragraphs. With that being, I'm just joking. I love you, Bobby. You know that. It's all love here, guys. It's all love here. What is it? Where's your favorite spot to write when you're putting together your stories, SN St. Clair?
I'm pretty traditional. I have an office in my house that I usually go and sit at and write. Just having a space that I'm used to, it's not distracting, is something that's super nice. But something I've started doing lately is just going out onto the back porch, taking my laptop with me, playing a little music and writing back there. And there's just something about being out in the sun and in the fresh air that is super nice. I am hoping to maybe kind of branch out of my comfort zone, maybe go to the beach or maybe go up into the mountains or even just going down the street to a coffee shop. But I would say probably for me, being in the comfort of my home where there's less distraction is where I usually aim for.
Yeah, that's fair. I could totally see that. I'm used to writing at my desk, workspace area too. So I completely understand that. What about Mr. Weber? What's your favorite spot to write when you're piecing together these stories?
Well, I wish I had an office. I don't, but what I do have is a desk in the living room. And honestly, it's not quiet at all, which is fun because 18 years in the Coast Guard has taught me how to, I kind of separate myself from the distractions as much as I can, compartmentalize, even if it's a loud room. So working at my desk is comfortable. It's easy. The other, I think, secondary place to that is my parents' house out on Cape Cod. Just sit out on the porch, like SN St. Clair said, right, and just kind of enjoy the sunshine and still, be able to write and focus. I think outside of that, now it's going to change a little bit. My environment's changing for the next year, going on deployment, so we'll see what comes of that.
Gotcha. And by the way, thank you for your service, and we wish you the best with your upcoming deployment for sure, man. Just stay sharp, stay strong. You got this. We believe in you.
It's a Maverick moment.
Are you going to be, by the way, speaking of which, you're going to be playing the Harold Faltermeyer theme every day?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Going to play that intro every day?
Teaching young coasties how to not kill me. That's all good.
There you go. Play some Harold Faltermeyer, and then immediately after that, just incorporate Kenny Loggins into the mix, and you're good. That's all you need.
Yep.
Yeah, see? I see. Rap's,
playlist. It's all done.
Rap's got the groove going there, so.
Always plays in my head.
It does, doesn't it? I'll be honest with you. I'll be perfect. This is the behind the scenes for you all. I actually watched the Top Gun Maverick intro, which is only 3 minutes compared to the original Top Gun being like 5.5 to 6, which is fine. Don't matter. Either one is great. But the Top Gun Maverick intro is so good, man. With that sunrise shot, and then everyone's getting ready to go, and then it's 2 minutes of Fulton, and then immediately it's a minute of Kenny Lyle. I'm like, yep, that's all I need. 3 minutes before I jump into my car like it's an F-14 Tomcat, haul ass out to work and do my shiznit. You know what I'm saying, DM Weber? You know what I'm saying? It's just
I get it.
It's good background music for writing action scenes too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, get that in your head and kind of
get the juices flowing. Yep.
Oh, definitely.
That's actually a good point. The next time I'm writing a action that has a lot of writing a story that has some action-based sequences in it, I'm going to take that. I'm going to listen to that while I'm writing it. Granted, I may be grooving out to the music more so than the writing, but I'll see what happens. I don't know. Gee whiz. Bobby, what's your favorite spot to write in? Is it the spot in your office where it's not look like a bookstore exploded, or is it in the opposite side where it does look like a bookstore has exploded?
I do most of my writing here.
Oh, okay.
As has been mentioned by the previous two comments, I love writing on my back porch. Unfortunately, I live in Georgia, where we only have 2 weeks where it's not either blazingly hot or supremely cold. So I don't get to do it very often. But most of my writing is done here. But I also have a tablet, and sometimes I find myself taking the tablet when I go off. Like if I take my dad to a doctor's appointment, I can write while I'm out in the waiting room. Or if I'm, I can sit in a restaurant or somewhere, or sometimes in bed, and just I've mastered the holding it with one hand and typing real quickly with the other, and I can write because there's no obstructions. I don't have internet and Facebook and social media and all those things that I can get sucked into at the laptop. So sometimes that's a nice secondary, but 90% of my writing is probably done right here.
Right there in your HQ, the command center.
I turn on a little music.
There you go.
I have just one of the Sirius XM. I pick something, usually nothing heavy, something that'll become background noise, like a classic rock or something that's not going to be like certainly no Top Gun Maverick theme song, because unless I need it, but because it kind of like fades into the background, but it's just something so it's not deadly quiet. That just unnerves me. So yeah.
I mean, if I want to really, I love these pieces of music, mind you, but at the same time, I can probably concentrate if it's still playing. So you mentioned different radio stations in Sirius, like classic rock. So if I'm listening to Steve Miller Band or Doobie Brothers, or my good friend Christopher Cross, or I Like the Wind, still classic. 45 years later, I don't care what anyone says. I could probably still write to that. It's good tunes, brother. I mean, I was raised on classic rock. I was raised on that stuff.
My go-tos are generally so it'll be stuff I know, so it's familiar. So you're listening, but you're not overly paying attention. So my go-tos are the Tom Petty channel, the Elvis channel, and like the classic rock channel, and they just kind of play stuff I know, and it just you're hearing it, but you're not like overly paying attention.
That's fair. Creative freedom. So it feels like you're free. Free falling. Anyway, now I got Tom Petty on the brain. Thanks a lot, guys.
Sorry.
Yeah, too much music. Too much music. Turn your music down. No, I'm just kidding. Raphael, where is your favorite spot to write?
Well, I'm usually on the go. So just like Bobby, I do it off my phone, but at the same time, I do it off the computer. I do it off whatever's in front of me gets the writing when I need to be where I need to be. And when I'm doing what I'm doing, because sometimes I'm going to a con, sometimes I'm doing picking my daughter up from school, sometimes. So I've realized that we spend so much time trying to find the perfect time to write, that the perfect time is any time you have a free moment to write. I'm not going to say that, if you're working on a bigger project, you shouldn't find a nice little quiet place to go. But sometimes it's impossible to do that. So just write where you are, write what you're doing, write as you're going, because inspiration will strike you in the weirdest places, like the shower. And it gets weird in the shower because, you're trying to remember all that stuff. Or when you're asleep, you're trying to remember all that stuff. And I find that it's kind of weird when, you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh, I'm going to write this down. And then you wake up in the morning and it's just gibberish. Because they tell you to leave a notebook next to the bed. But what happens when you just write gibberish?
Yeah. I haven't tried that yet. Leaving a notebook by my bedside table in case I need to get up in the middle and just write something if it's an idea or a dream I had about a story I want to write. I haven't tried that method yet, so who knows? Anything's possible. 2026 is still young. We're only 6.5 months in, so
yeah. I sometimes write on my phone, like if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll pop on the phone and just get the idea down. But yeah, I tried once the speech to text.
Oh yeah.
It does not take accents into. Plus, half asleep and accent. I opened the next one like you said, it's like Raphael said, it's like, what the hell is this?
Oh yeah, I've had the weirdest ones when I've done that, where you say something, it's like, oh, that was great, good thing I said it. And next thing you wake up in the morning, it's like, raisins across the sun fight peanuts, and you're like, what? I gotta ask you guys though, because we brought up all the music in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So now the question is, because I'm a big music guy, and as a dungeon master, you're always preparing the stories as you hear the soundtrack, so you can figure out what you're going to do when you're going to do your DMing. So what's the music that inspires you? Let's go with the one song that really inspires you. How about that?
That's a great question.
Yeah,
that's a great question. Should I insert Jeopardy theme here, ladies and gentlemen, in the studio? Producers, we have that? Oh wait, we don't. We don't have it. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I have this. I can answer this in two ways. So I'm in a writers Discord. I'm in a Discord server that's a group of writers. Essen St. Clair and I are in this same one, the Men's Adventure Fiction Writers Discord, right? So there's a thread in there called the Music of Adventure. So when I think it was Brina actually who threw in a link to instrumental like Egyptian adventure music, like you're going through a tune like in The Mummy, like the Brendan Fraser Mummy. No disrespect to the original Universal Monster, but the Brendan Fraser one is so much better. And Brendan Fraser's coming back for another one after all these years, which is insane. Congrats, Brendan Fraser. Get in shape, brother. Yeah. So that music really inspires me when I'm listening to like adventure type music. I mean, the creative juices just ooze out of my brain. But when it comes to like music, if I had to pick it, oh gosh, it's so hard. I mean, you can use this song for whatever, but anyone who's anyone knows that Rocky Balboa is one of the most iconic fiction, characters of all time. So if I'm listening to Survivor's Eye of the Tiger there, Raph,
oh, that's good.
That's going to put me, first of all, it's going to make me feel like I'm a badass. Second of all, it's going to make me feel like I can knock out Clubber Lang with one punch. I pity the fool. And then 3, most importantly, it makes me feel like I can do anything. Doesn't matter what the obstacles are. So it will eventually, after I start jamming out to it a little bit, I will sit down and actually start cramming out some stuff. So I don't know if that answers the question or not, but that's like a twofold type of answer. I'm sorry. Does anyone else have a thought on this?
I think.
Go ahead.
I don't know if I have one specific. The first one that popped into my head was Raiders of the Lost Ark theme.
Oh yeah, John Williams, baby.
That certain movie themes, because they can inspire not necessarily the action, but like when you said Rocky, when you're talking about Rocky, I wasn't thinking about Eye of the Tiger. I was thinking about the actual Rocky theme.
Oh yeah, that one too.
That theme makes me think of hopefulness and trying to make something happen. So that's the kind of thing that would be great if you're you're writing a thing about someone chasing their dream. Indy's theme is more of a just balls to the wall adventure. That kind of different things like that. So different themes could inspire different emotions.
I agree.
So like if you hear the Imperial March from Star Wars, you're thinking about the bad guys.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So I don't have a specific favorite, but those are good for steering the emotion because you're tying it to something else that's made you emotional, and that can kind of kickstart that emotion that you can put into that scene.
Yeah, now you're making me think of General Vias. Prepare your men. Yes, sir. Anyway,
I think I'm the completely opposite one here because I don't really have a song specifically that I listen to that does that, but probably my go-to is going to be, like I think of Def Leppard or Metallica or like Hollywood Undead or something like that. Like I want something that has really good sound, really good rhythm, really good bass, just something when that song comes on, then I'm just sitting there, I'm just typing away. There's just something about the energy and the music that, then goes through my fingers and gets down on the paper.
You're almost typing in rhythm.
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
Interesting.
So I'm going to go on a similar line on that. Slight variation, slight twist. And honestly, before I start writing, especially with, how my books are going, right, in the military thriller genre and everything, one of the songs that kind of gets me going really, really well is Bob Dylan's Masters of War.
Ooh.
Right? So I'll sit there and I'll just listen to the whole song all the way through. And then my brain's just like, okay, action scenes ready to go. Right. And like everything I do then is like, mocking out every single move and just like, it's going. Right. And at that point, it doesn't matter what I listen to as long as I'm focused. But
I agree with you guys because it all depends on what you're writing. And like with me, it's the same thing. Each song pulls out a different thing from me. Like if I want something heroic, I am definitely going to have to put Superman on. John Williams, you just
or Hans Zimmer. Wow. Hans Zimmer's just as good. Hans Zimmer's theme for Man of Steel is just as good.
It's just, but I have to go back to John Williams and
I get it.
That music because it just like really.
He's the OG, man.
Oh.
He is. He is. Without John Williams, there is no Hans Zimmer. I get it. I get it. John Williams walks so Hans Zimmer could run. I get it. It's fantastic. Two of the greatest. For show. You know what else is for show? This episode of the Writer Showcase is all spectacular, so do not forget to like and share. If you have any questions for our writers, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. And hey, if you're a writer, what's your favorite piece of music to listen to while you're writing or your creative process? You know what I'm saying? Drop your playlist. Drop those links down, your Spotify playlist, because everyone's got a Spotify. Drop it in the comments. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. We've gone everywhere from classic rock, Def Leppard, Rocky, Indiana Jones. I mean, we've gone all over the 31 flavors of the rainbow here. So, my gosh, that's awesome.
That's what you just described the inside of a writer's brain.
I probably just described everyone's brain on this set. Yeah, because I got a million ideas running through my head, and then if I'm thinking of the music, Bobby, like I'm thinking, okay, Indiana Jones applies to this story that I'm trying to write, and then the other song applies to that other story over here I'm trying to. So yeah, it's like 31 flavors, man.
It is.
Scramble mode on.
Like DM Weber. Yeah, scramble mode. Exactly. 100%. It's just one of those things. But great question, Raphael. Maybe we should let you host the show for next time. You're better at this than I am. Gosh darn it. But anywho, I'm doing my best.
You are entertaining, brother.
I do my best. It's not easy being green, like Kermit says. But I'm cookie folk here. I'm doing my best. So. I'm just curious, though, Essence St. Clair, what kind of stories do you like to read, or what genre or subgenre you like to read?
I pretty much like to read what I write, which is romance and thrillers, kind of any type of thriller, supernatural, psychological. I also like to read some horror, but definitely aim more towards romance and thriller. I am probably one of the weird ones. I have a really hard time getting into fantasy. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I never really watched a ton of fantasy stuff growing up or reading as well. But those are probably my two favorites. Yeah, those two.
All good. Well, hopefully one of these days you'll get a chance to watch the incredible 80s film, The Never-Ending Story, because that's fantasy for you right there.
Oh,
darn right, baby. Practical effects.
Brain tissues.
Brain tissues, yes, but they don't make them like they used to in the 80s, because the 80s was a special time of filmmaking.
I don't know, man. I feel like you're trying to hurt her because that one scene in that movie.
I know what scene you're referring to. Essence St. Clair, she'll recover from it. She'll be okay. Watch Never-Ending Story because it's such a great freaking movie from the 80s that holds up 40 plus years later. I'm not even kidding you. I mean, this
has a modern twist to it, so
it does.
It's not completely set in a fantasy world.
It does have a modern twist. That's very true. I mean, obviously, fantasy. I mean, there's so much like fantasy adventure. Obviously, Lord of the Rings comes to mind. So there is that. One does not simply watch one Lord of the Rings movie, Essence St. Clair. So
I'm probably more of a Harry Potter person than Lord of the Rings, but
Traitor. No, it's all right. I'm more of a Lord of the Rings fan than a Potterhead, but that's all right. We'll let it slide. It's fine. Okay. It's all good. It's no worries at all. But good genres though. Good genre. Yeah, well, there's that. Dave M says any Hans Zimmer for build up. Yeah. Hans Zimmer knows his shiznit, man. He knows his music. No doubt whatsoever. DM Weber, what genre or subgenres do you like to read the most, or what kinds of stories? I would say.
Well, as suggested, I mean, what I write is typically what I read, in a lot of cases. So military thrillers, law enforcement thrillers. I've been kind of dabbling into Brad Thor. I've been reading Jack Carr forever. I've been kind of getting a little bit into Lee Child and Reacher, kind of seeing where that kind of leads me in terms of my writing. And then I've dabbled a little bit in romance, which is, odd for a military thriller writer, but hey, you know what, whatever, expanding my horizons. Right. And then adventure has been an interesting one I kind of picked up a little bit lately. So with that said, actually, going back to Bobby's comment about, Raiders of the Lost Ark, stuff like that, right? If you want an adventure novel that is really, really good, I picked one up not too long ago by Jack McTavish called Royal Diamonds. Basically think of like Indiana Jones on the water. So definitely something to throw out there. That's a good one.
Ooh, in the words of Cap, I'll add it to the list. Because his list is incredibly long. And it continues to be long on the TBR. So thanks a lot, DM Weber. You just add more pain to my suffering. With that being, but it's all good though. We're all friends here. We're all friends here. Just it's all good. It's all good. By the way, all good answers. All good answers. What about you, Bobby? I feel like you would read like 40 different genres. Because how many do you write in? Like one of them?
Yeah. So, I do read a lot of what I write which is I do read a lot of crime thrillers and thrillers and adventure stuff, the pulpy kind of action adventure stuff. I enjoy that. I also read comic books, which can be multiple genres. I do read some sci-fi here and there. I still love a good media tie-in book. I don't read those quite as much as I used to, but I still do enjoy dipping my toe into books based on TV shows and movies I've enjoyed, just to see what writers are bringing to those characters I love.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Makes a lot of sense. Raphael, since you write in 30 different genres, do you have a favorite genre or kinds of what you like to read the most, considering that you write quite an awful lot?
I think what when it comes to me, it's the same thing where you have all these bits and pieces that you're putting together, especially when I put them into my story. So my fantasy will bleed into my supernatural, my sci-fi will bleed into my fantasy, my noir will bleed into something else. So but these are all the things that I like to read. I love noir, I love fantasy, I love sci-fi, of course supernatural. But I'll read almost anything, but I feel like I tend to stick into that area.
Gotcha. No worries. And when it comes to supernatural, do you always drop the line, saving people, hunting things? Family business. Yeah, you ever drop that Sam and Dean line on somebody?
You have to, especially because as soon as I hear supernatural, I think supernatural.
Mm-hmm. Well, as soon as I hear supernatural, I'm thinking of "Carry On My Wayward Son" by Kansas.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. As soon as I hear
anyone else ever hear that song, "Carry On My Wayward Son" by Kansas? Yeah, that's another writing song you can get into if you're writing something that's supernatural related, or maybe another genre. I don't know. Kansas. I don't know. I've listened to that
song, man. Yeah.
It's like a 6-minute song though, which is great because if I'm writing for which we all do, we write for extended periods of time.
Well, definitely.
I can just listen to that for a good 6 minutes and then move on to was it like Pink Floyd's "The Wall" or another 8-minute song that's out there in the world. I don't know. Michael Jackson's got 5 or 6 songs that are like 6 minutes long, 7-8 minutes long. So
oh god, what's that? I heard it through the grapevine, which is like 11 minutes.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like 11 minutes long.
I didn't know it was 11 minutes.
Yeah. Well, there's a cut down version, but if you listen to the full version, it's like 11 minutes. Yeah.
Is it 11? Wow. I'm gonna have to Google this. I didn't know that was 11 minutes, Bobby. Huh.
Majority of Metallica songs are upwards of 8-9 minutes.
8 or 9 minutes. Does that include? Oh gosh, what's the? Oh man, no. It's not "Enter the Sandman." It's oh gosh, I forget the name of it. I'm blanking. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to text you about it later. But still, yeah, I've listened to some Metallica here and there. It's good. I like their music. I do. I'm not like the biggest fan because heavy metal is, I don't know. Like I like some of it, but not all of it. It depends on how you look at it, I guess. But there's some good songs in there. Metallica's got some good. AC/DC, another example. They got some great music, right?
Well, so, I would figure with you writing the westerns, because Metallica covers the song from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah,
that's right. They do a great version of.
I forgot about that. Bobby. I'm gonna have to YouTube that later because I totally forgot about that. Had no idea. I will say this.
Metallica goes all classical as well, because they went through that whole phase where they brought in the orchestra to do their songs.
Well, outside of that, there's the song. Speaking of westerns, Bobby, because you mentioned it earlier, Bon Jovi, Blaze of Glory.
When
Guns
you
too.
say Bon Jovi and Western, my first song is Blaze of Glory.
Oh, it has to be. It has to be. It's great because it's iconic, man. And can you believe, and this is a fun fact for everybody watching or listening to us at home, did you know that they were, like, the cast and the band were hanging out one night at a bar and Bon Jovi, like, wrote the song for Blaze of Glory on a napkin?
Yeah.
He wrote it in less than a night. Like, he wrote it in, like, 10 minutes. Isn't that insane?
Well, when inspiration strikes,
Especially after a few brewskis, sitting there hanging out with Emilio, and who's the gosh, why am I blanking? The Kiefer Sutherland and
Charlie Sheen,
Emilio Estevez. You got what's his name? Ian Anthony, the guy who plays Chavez. I forget his name.
Lou Diamond Phillips.
That's it. Like, you're hanging out with all those cool dudes. And you get an idea for Blaze Glory. How amazing is that, Bobby? It's insane. It's awesome.
Heard the rumors, right?
Oh yeah, they're gonna make a Young Guns 3 after like 35 years. After
they're not so young anymore. I think they've dropped.
I don't think they're gonna call it Young Guns. I think they're gonna call it
Not so young.
Yeah, I think it's just called Guns.
I think it's called Guns Part 3: The Retirement Home. I don't know.
That was the first thought I had. I was like, wait, how do you make a Young Guns unless they're gonna have a new generation come up?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it's going to be their grandkids, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, as I understand it from what I've seen in interviews with those guys, that it is them, the characters that survived. It's just
they're going to continue. I mean, Christian Slater, or no, Christian Slater gets killed at the end, but still, like, yeah. So the 2 or 3 that are still left, I don't know how that's going to work. But hey, they can put their best foot forward. I mean, look at what they're doing now. They're making a Mummy 3 with Rachel Weisz and Brendan Fraser 28 years after the second one. So
that one makes more sense than Young Guns.
Yeah, true.
Well, I don't know. They're still young though, but still.
Yeah, but we are kind of in that age of nostalgia stuff where we're seeing
in
all
retirement
these things, like they did it where they're bringing big characters back, like they did it with Patrick Stewart as Picard.
They did it with Picard. Yeah,
they've done it with other things where they're just that nostalgia bit
playing off of that.
They're kind of cool on seeing how these guys are older.
Yep. That's true. Just make sure that, Bobby, you see this line? The line must be drawn here. Okay, this far, no further, and I will make them pay for what they've done. Sorry, that's Star Trek First Contact, in case you haven't wondered. But because it's my favorite, it's the number one Star Trek movie of all time is First Contact for me. It is number one, hands down. Nothing's going to top it. Nothing. Because resistance is futile. With that being said, though, great questions, everybody. Great questions. Man, we can talk about music all night. But what we can do is remind you, fine folks out there, that this is indeed the Writer Showcase Musical Edition. Do not forget to like and share. Exactly. Do not forget to like and share. If you're watching this live on a replay, thank you for doing so. If you have any questions for our esteemed group of elite writers, the best of the best, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. And we'll go from there. So, Raph, how do you interact with your 2.5 million fans out there? Do you interact with them mostly in person, or do you do it on social media? How has your interaction been like with your fans?
It's a 50-50 because there's times, like, as you know from doing these shows, that nobody shows up in the live, and then they show up later on in the replay. And you're like, okay, how am I supposed to do this? But I find that most of the times, what ends up happening is you're at the convention, and they're like, oh, I saw your episode, and I'm going, I checked the stats. I didn't think anybody saw that episode. Yeah, but it's the moment when you realize people are actually watching your show because you're out in the wild, and people come up to you, goes, "Oh, Ralph, that was a great show," or "I love that guest that you had on," or where can I find so and so? And of course, we always push people towards that whole thing. What I've been doing recently, or more recently, or in the past couple of years with Instagram, is that we'll go to the convention and we'll post up the videos of the interviews straight onto Instagram, and it feels like the person's there with us at the convention. And I've been finding a lot of fun with that one.
That's great. All you got to do is come to a show that I'm at and interview me so that your ratings can triple and your buy rates double, and then everybody wins, and then we get, more and more followers for all of us. So you got to interview me on one of these Comic Cons, man. You got to show up with and meet me there. You got to be there, man.
Well, either that, you got to come over here, man.
Dude, New York and Jersey, that's like a long drive, but
hey, you can go to Jersey, you can go to Philly.
I can go to Jersey. It's true. I got friends in Jersey too. That's very true.
There's a lot of cons in Jersey.
There's a lot of them actually. I've been seeing your posts, and I'm thinking to myself, man, maybe I should think about this whole, going back to Jersey and New York thing, because there's so many shows, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, if people, I tell people all the time, you don't want to come back to New York, don't worry about it. You can go to Jersey, you can go to Philly. It's the same thing.
True, I've gone to Philly so many times. It's a 2-hour drive for me, man. All right, it's 2 hours, big difference. But we're doing our best here. Rack up the traveler miles. Goodness gracious! But that's cool that you're interacting with your fans more and more through the Instagram pages. I'm just curious, though, Bobby, how do you interact with your fans? How does it go for you?
I'm kind of like Raphael. I think it's kind of a 50-50. I mean, I talk to people online a lot. Yeah. Where people interact through my website or through social media, probably more through social media, or doing podcasts. We get, like Raphael said, yeah, nobody watches them live, but then later somebody's like, oh yeah, I saw that. And but I do a lot of events, so I do talk to a lot of people in person.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's a more, I don't want to say better interaction, but it's more of an impactful interaction, I think, where we can talk more. Whereas when you're just typing messages, you lose a little of the personal connection. So I love chatting with people at conventions, and we do a lot of panels where people come and ask questions about writing and publishing and whatnot. So yeah, so that's kind of it. Better for me is I enjoy I enjoy talking to people. As you know, I enjoy talking.
Really?
So
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, you might have known. But getting out and meeting people in person is a bit more special, I think, sometimes than just
I agree
typing messages, because now there's more of a personal connection. Plus, you put names to faces, things like that. So yeah, it helps.
Well, that's very true. I'll give you that. And by the way, I am going to get to your question here, Michael, momentarily in the chat. He's got a great question, but we'll bring it up here momentarily. But still, Essence St. Clair, how do you interact with your millions of adoring fans?
I'm right now I'm probably closer to like 75-25. I'm mostly on social media and once in a while at events or in person, but I am also, another thing that I'm trying to work on to get out of my comfort zone is to do more social events and get out there more. So, book fairs and kind of things like that. Primarily just communicating online, and like Bobby's saying, it's super nice to be able to go meet these people in person and talk to them in person. I agree that it's very personable and it puts you on a closer level.
There you go. And thank you for sharing that with us. We really appreciate it. We wish you the best of luck with your upcoming events too, when you go out and meet the masses. I just want to say, sign all those books, sell the books, sell all the books. Sincerely. And DM Weber, what's it like for you? How do you interact with your fans out there?
Well, it is a mix. Definitely. I mean, social media, I'm getting a little bit more of a following now, so it's a little easier to engage with folks who want to actually talk about it, ask questions, things like that. Just kind of spread the word. I love signings, obviously. I mean, that's, if you don't, what's the point, right? Getting out there, getting my face in front of readers, and introducing people to the book who may never have heard about it and may never hear about it unless I'm physically at a table. The other thing I've occasionally been known to do is, like, for instance, in my normal job, I actually, every once in a while, I'll just kind of leave a book around or hand one out. I actually, right before I stopped working back at the beginning of July for my leave before deployment, I saw a guy on the shuttle into work reading another novel by another bigger name author, right, with a library tag on the edge of it. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I grabbed a copy of my book, said, hey, I came upon this one. Here you go, right, and just handed him a free copy of the book, right? And we'll see.
Awesome, man. That's fantastic. Thank you all for answering that question, sharing that with us, and thank you to everybody who's chatting it up in the chat. My gosh, is it active. So here's a question to the field from Michael. Michael says, never really written before for something outside of what are known as academic papers. What would you all recommend for someone looking to start writing for what is known as a short story anthology or competition, such as Swashbuckling September, which is something that Essence St. Clair and I are familiar with in our Men's Adventure Fiction Discord. So Swashbuckling September is where they're looking for submissions between 1 to 5K, and they have to be within the swashbuckling realm. So, like, you got to think of pirates, Zorro, swordsman, and rescuing, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what they're looking for that. But what advice would you offer to this young person known as Michael? Anybody have a thought on that question?
Well, I guess I would start out, first have fun with it. That should be, you should have fun with whatever you're writing. If you're not having fun, then it becomes just a slog sometimes. But there's different, there's no one right way to do it. You have to find what works best for you. But for me, it's just I go in and I start with the character. Okay, if I know I'm writing a swashbuckling story, the first thought is I come up with a swashbuckling character and then get to know that character and then say, okay, I'm going to drop you into this problem. What do we do? And you kind of learn from there. So you just kind of dive in and see what works for you.
It sounds like a TV pitch. Do what works.
Do what works for you.
You sound
just do it.
Do it. You sound like a TV pitch, man, with that last bit of your answer. But I love it all the same. With all due respect, I love it all the same. SN St. Clair, any advice for this young Padawan known as Michael here with that question in the chat?
Yeah, I mean, if Michael wants to kind of elaborate on exactly what kind of question they're asking, but I agree with Bobby. I mean, there's so many different ways to do something, and there's no right way to do it. It's just going to be what works best for you. But definitely just coming forward and, thinking of a character, thinking of a story, do you want it to begin? What's the climax in the middle of the story, and what's the ending supposed to be? And even just grabbing a notepad and writing down a story and just having somebody read it and just get the, see what they have to say, is probably a good thing to start with. But as far as, something to look, as a recommendation, it really just depends. It's kind of hard to answer that one.
No, I get that. I mean, I think he's asking, like, how do you start? Well, kind of piggybacking on what they just said, yeah, think of a character, think of the setting. If it's in the pirate time, like the pirate ages, then do some research. Definitely do some research on that, because research is important when you're doing period pieces, right? So do your research. Do it now. And like kind of piggybacking off what Bobby wrote, it's just have fun with it. Honestly, don't put too much pressure on yourself. This is your first time out of the gate, Michael. Just have fun with it, and you're going to make mistakes. Nothing's going to be perfect, and that's okay. Don't worry about it.
That's why we write second drafts.
That's why we write second, third, and fourth, and fifth drafts, and then we send it over to the editors and publishers to be like, okay, you did this right, but you need to fix this and that, and that, and the other. I'm like, no. And you got to go back.
What is it Hemingway said? The first draft is always crap.
Yes, exactly. I think it was Hemingway who said that. Isn't that right? Yeah. First draft is always crap.
Live by that.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
but it's easier to fix crap.
It is
to fix a blank page.
The editing. Do the editing.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what people what happens to people instead of
editing.
Instead of writing, instead of doing something, they get stuck in the planning stages, and you can't fix planning stages.
No, just have fun with it. That's the best. That's one of the better things we can do. Anyone else want to respond to Michael's question before I share with you the next one in the chat?
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, with any writing, obviously, you start with a concept, you start with a character, and you just write. Right, because like it was said, okay, if you stay in the planning stage, you never get any farther. Right. I mean, my fun story about Cold Front, as always, is it started as a shower thought, right, and then I wrote the entire first draft in a month on nothing but my iPhone. Right, so just start, because if you don't start, you're never getting anywhere.
And that's where you find a lot of your surprises too.
Yeah.
When you're writing.
Yeah.
Because you will,
while you're doing
your
it,
characters start talking to you as you're writing what they're doing. And sometimes the characters will surprise you by something will come up that was not part of your plan.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to kind of flow with those things. So yeah, like we said, if you never get out of your planning stages, you don't discover those happy accidents.
And sometimes it's another place where we get locked in. I don't know if the contest has to be pirates, but there are other swashbuckling characters in other things. Like Nightcrawler is a swashbuckling character.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep trying to change him into something else.
Right.
When
Next
first meet Nightcrawler, he is the swashbuckling hero from the X-Men. So there's a lot of things that you can do, and sometimes it's even better to do like a modern take on it, where this character is a swashbuckler and he's in modern times and he acts like that. And, because that already gives you a story, because how does other people treat him because he acts like that? Why does he act like that? There's so much going on, and you just run with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And Bobby, when you talk about characters talking to you, I feel like if that starts happening, because that really hasn't started happening to me yet, because I'm still kind of green at this thing called writing. I'm still,
You're so
getting my-
lucky.
I know, right? I'm getting.
They won't
Ryan is
stop talking to me. So
I know Ryan's the luckiest person in the world right now, I guess. So my characters haven't started talking to me yet, Bobby, but once they do, I feel like I'm gonna start playing the song "Dream Warriors" by Dokken in my head because I feel like I'll be locked up in the insane asylum, like Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors.
Well, I think what
Yeah.
happens, and it's maybe different for everybody, but I'm assuming
Which is
we'll
fine.
probably all have kind of the same thing. Is
Mhm.
to us, they stop becoming characters and they become real people.
Oh.
Even whether they're alien or anything, they're real people to us.
Yeah.
So I stop thinking of my characters as characters. I know this person, so I know how this person talks, how this person acts, and so if I drop this person into a situation, I write out how that character would react to that situation. So, like, if you were to take all 5 of us and have the exact same situation, and we each drop our character into it, you're going to get 5 different stories.
Oh, definitely.
Because our characters do things they're how they do them, and we're not all writing the same character the same way.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, once I start hear ringing in my ears and the voices start speaking, I'll text Bobby and be like, "Bobby, what have you done? What have you done?" Anyway,
See, then the problem becomes they don't shut up.
They don't shut. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to start running into that scenario, and then I'm going to text Bobby and Raph again and be like, "Yo, why'd you guys say this to me? I hate you."
That's the reason we're waking at 4 a.m. to write something.
4 a.m. Yeah, and I get up every day. It's funny because Monday through Friday I'm getting up every day at 4:30 in the morning. So yeah, I'm almost on that timetable.
Yeah, so that's because they won't shut up and they're talking to you at the most inopportune times. But
yeah, so it's either one of the smaller versions of a notebook that people can buy and purchase and have in their pockets, or it's the one that says it's word slinging time or writing journal. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. Look at all these words. It's all chicken scratch, but hey, it's still wording, right, guys? It's still words. It's words.
It's writing, yes.
Yeah, it's words on a page, folks. Yeah, it's fantastic. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom, wise Jedi, with us. By the way, here's a wonderful question from the chat. Brina Williamson, one of the best indie writers in the game today. She says, "Got a fun question for you all writers. Who are your favorite writers within your chosen genres?" Well, I mean, one of them is sitting right next to me. It's called Bobby Nash, because I like action, adventure, spy thriller, crime fiction stories. So Bobby Nash is definitely the top dog in that yard. When it comes to, I know, don't be bashful. I'm embarrassing him. No,
a little bit. Yeah.
It's
a good thing we're very small on the screen. You can't see me blushing.
Yeah, no, we can't see it. But no, yeah, Bobby is definitely, like, when I think of short stories or long stories, it doesn't matter. Like, Bobby Nash is definitely one of the first people that comes to my mind because his Snow series, if you haven't read it yet, it's the best thing since sliced bread. It really, really is. I mean, and the fact that he included one of my critiques of one of his books within the series is on the back cover of one of his own books. I'm like, bro, now I'm really hitting it big time. I thought I was just a small kid from a small town, but now I got my name on the back of a freaking book. So, that always helps.
That's why it's important to write good reviews.
On Goodreads or Amazon.
Yes,
Goodreads or Amazon. That's true. SN St. Clair took sent her a screenshot of my review on Goodreads. She posted it all over social media saying, "Look, guys, this book is awesome. This guy knows his stuff, so go buy it." Isn't that right? SN St. Clair, you texted me saying, "Hey, I posted it. Here it is."
Yes.
So, it's great. It's wonderful. Indie supports indie, right? SN St. Clair, that's what we do in this business, right? Isn't that what we do?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
She knows what's up. But yeah, anyone else have a thought on favorite writers within your chosen genres? I mean, obviously, Bobby would probably be number one, and then number two, if we're thinking about westerns, because I write westerns. There was a western I read a while. It was a while back, though. I apologize. It was written by Charles F. Millhouse. It was called Rugged. It's really, really good. That was fantastic. Feel free to look him up on StormgatePress.com if I'm not mistaken. So, and by the way, Charles F. Millhouse has a ton of stuff coming out in the next couple of weeks. So check your inboxes. He's got so much.
He and I just finished writing a book together.
That's right. What was the name of it again?
It's called The Infernal Machine. It teams up two of our characters. We teamed up that we have similar like pulpy characters, so we teamed them up in a book. So yeah, that'll be fun. So if you're talking about other writers that I like I am a big fan of Michael Connelly with the Bosch and Lincoln Lawyer.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a genre that I write, and so I love his stuff. And he's probably the bigger name. I also love an author named Alex Kava, who is not as well known, but she writes a lot of mystery and suspense thrillers. She has one. She started out writing about an FBI agent, and then she teamed the FBI agent up with a guy who does rescue dogs, and like they go out and rescue and drug sniff and all that stuff. And so the FBI and the dog handler go on these thriller adventures, and they're excellent.
Fascinating. Anyone else have a thought on this? Favorite authors within your chosen genre or genres?
Well, let's
So
go two
many.
directions. One with other fellow indie authors, right? So within the thriller genre, right? I'm going to give a quick plug to J.K. Wolf, despite him being a traitor and not being here.
Yeah. I'm upset with him.
I'm gonna
and
give him so much
I'm upset
flack
with
for that.
both him and T.G.
Oh,
Brown.
man.
I'm upset with both of them.
Yeah. I mean, I got like a few days left for deployment. I'll still drive out and give him flack for it.
Oh,
But
nice.
no,
There you go.
his first two books are amazing. Shadows of the Badge and Shepherd's Wake. He just sent me the first draft of his third book.
Oh, really?
Which, man, it hits every trigger. Oh my
Does
goodness. I'm blown away so far. And then the other one is Josh Jensen, if you haven't heard of him. No Easy Way Back is his first one. He's got a second one out, Rough Country. Kind of neo-Western thriller. Really interesting. Really good books. Really good writer. And then as far as the big names, for me, it comes back to Jack Carr. Because like I said, the shower thought, was literally thinking of Jack Carr's writing at the time, because I was rereading the books in physical form. I'm like, man, he writes from experience. How would I integrate that into something I would write, right? And so that's where it all started, is thinking, okay, my experiences in 18 years in the Coast Guard. Okay, I got to use it somehow. And Jack Carr has always been that inspiration of, he writes from direct experience, right? There's no one who does it better.
Okay. I got the Terminal List in paperback on my shelf. So once again, it's on my TBR, DM Weber. I'm so sorry. But it's still there. It's not going anywhere. It's sitting right next to a copy of Tarzan of the Apes by Edgar Rice Burroughs, which is a classic piece of literature.
Yes.
And then what's next to him? Oh, yeah, The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. There you go. 3 different writers, 3 different genres. That covers a lot of bases now, doesn't it, Mr. Weber?
That's some good company.
Indeed.
It is some good company, isn't it? Yeah, I have chosen wisely. I just haven't chosen the right time to read them all because I'm so freaking busy with the full-time job that's killing me. I'm tired of it. I just want to sit back and read 250 books. What is that so hard? Anyway, sorry, I'm going off on random tangents. Anyone else have a thought on Brina's question as to regards to favorite writers within your chosen genres?
I mean, a big name author for me is just going to be Stephen King. I mean, oldie but a goodie. And to kind of follow DM Weber is, an indie author who's also not on here, T.G. Brown. He's a really great author and a close friend. Writes westerns and crime thrillers. So he's probably be my indie pick. But Stephen King has always been one of the ones that is pretty close to me.
Right on.
And if you guys want to
What's this? What do we have here?
get on your writing,
Oh, look at
Yes.
that.
because I always get asked, what should I read if I want to do some writing? Here's one of those books you should read if you want to do some
His little memoir. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's hilarious, honestly.
Oh, is it now?
Oh, it's a very good book. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks a lot, Bobby. I'm going to have to add that one to the freaking list. But honestly, when I get off here, I'm probably going to skid on my Amazon shopping list and just drop all these titles. So you can drop it on my keister the whole night and be like, okay, Essen St. Clair said this, DM Weber said that, and then Ralph said this, but Bobby said that. So I got to add this, that, and the other.
Hey, fans of the podcast, Ryan needs books.
Yeah,
Send
Ryan
me the
needs books.
Wish list
All
of
the books.
Send me the wish list in the comments, or you can DM me on Instagram, which, by the way, once we hit 1,000 followers on our Instagram page, folks, we're going to do another giveaway. So help us get there so we can do another giveaway. Because the last thing we did was 300 episodes of And I Quote. We did 3 giveaways of 3 random winners. They were all great. All the prizes were great. And one of them was an ebook copy of One Man's Treasure by Terrence Leahy, a good friend of ours. So we're supporting indie authors out there. So maybe we can send you another ebook. If we get us to 1,000 followers, we can get another ebook up for grabs, right? So that's getting a person's name out there in the world, right? We could get another book out there. It's for good measure. That's not an issue, right? I mean, the Writer Showcase is the best show you never heard of until you do. Don't forget to like and share. If you have any questions for our esteemed group of writers, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. Bobby, do you have a favorite character or character you've written for so far?
Oh, well, it's like telling me which of your children are your favorite.
Who's your favorite child?
It depends on which day of the week you ask that question. but there are certain characters that do stick with you more. Like probably Snow and Sheriff Myers are probably the ones I spend the most time with. So they're usually my first thought. But oh man, but yeah, it's but then you always go back to the first one too. Like the Herald from Evil Ways was the first main character I wrote. And that book kind of launched all this other stuff. So yeah, probably one of those. But right now I'd say probably Snow is the guy that yammers in my ear the most. So I have a really fondness for this character. It's and what's weird, it's one of those characters, people are always like, I poured years into creating this, and it was like it came about because a publisher said, hey, we're looking for stuff, what do you got? And I pulled like some ideas that were in the back of my head that I didn't know where to put with, and I slammed them together, and I have probably the best-selling series I ever did.
So in other words, you pulled a rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah, I pulled it out of something.
Yeah, you could say it. We pulled a rabbit out of the hat. It's okay.
Yeah. But it's one of those things that, sometimes that it was, where we talked about earlier, sometimes you get those wonderful surprises. And that was one of those where it's like, it just came together better than, not something like if I had planned it, it probably wouldn't have landed as well. A lot of this came out of just knee jerk. What we do? Throw this at it and go. Because sometimes you can overthink it if you plan too much.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I didn't have that problem here because literally it was on the phone. I need a pitch right now. So yeah.
Man, it's amazing what you can do when you're under pressure.
And what's weird is of those 3 ideas that I pulled together, the word snow was in none of them.
Really?
So like the name came out of thin air because the name I had was something different with the original idea. But while talking, that popped into my head. I don't know where it came from. But that's part of the fun of doing this job is I don't know where half this shit comes from, but I'm glad it keeps coming. I don't want it to stop. It's just like I don't know where all the ideas come from, but they're there.
Gee whiz, man! The ideas that come out of this young man's head, it's ridiculous.
It's just,
It's ridiculous, And Michael took a moment to thank us. He says, "Thanks for the advice from you all. I'm thinking classic pirate age. Okay, so like I said, do your research on the time period. Mysterious Island Treasure. Okay, that's a classic trip, and I love it. And bugs of unusual sizes. Are you thinking of the ones from Mummy or something related to that? I don't know. But either way, have fun with it, Michael. But like I said, do the research, have fun with it. Don't worry about the first draft being the best thing out of the gate because it's going to suck, and it's okay. We've all been there." It's nothing to be ashamed of.
Don't. I think every writer at one point goes, "Oh, this is too much like this plot's like this." Mm-hmm. There are no original plots left. It's how each of us writes the plot is what makes it unique because we're bringing our own things to it. Again, like I said earlier, if we all wrote the same basic plot, you would get 5 different stories because how each of us tells that story is what makes it unique.
It's also a good way to sell your book. If you already have an idea of what it's like, you can always go, oh, if you like this, you'll definitely like this.
Yeah.
Because it gives you a reference point. And sometimes people need that reference point because they don't know if they should risk reading whatever you're writing or whatever you're creating. And then if you can go, well, you like Supernatural? Well, this is like Supernatural was a Western and you threw some aliens into it.
Aliens.
Well, like Michael's saying, my first thought was like it's like Treasure Island meets Starship Troopers.
Because Bobby, as we all know, the only good bug
is
the dead bug. That's right. See, and by the way, people use this all the time on social media, Bobby. Maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't. The GIF where they say, "I'm doing my part." Yeah, it's like, that's Starship Troopers, baby. Speaking of which, here's a great sales pitch from R.D. Marino, who we spoke to earlier this week. He says, if you like Dune meets Battlestar Galactica meets Stargate, you're going to like Zeta 5. This is his series, and that cover is sick, by the way. But yeah, it's Dune meets Stargate meets Battlestar, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be overly familiar with the Stargate universe or the Battlestar, but Dune is familiar to me, so I'm like, okay, I can roll with this.
Yeah,
but it's interesting. Anyway, sorry, just want to give him a quick plug. But Yeah, favorite characters you've written so far, Raphael, and don't say the turtles because that doesn't count.
Damn it.
You can't say the turtles.
So I can give you like a dual story here because
Sure.
it's one of the books that or one of the stories that I've been working on that didn't come out because I started to write this story, and then as we were talking, this character wouldn't shut up. He would just keep talking to me, and he started to take over the story that I was writing when it has nothing to do with him. He was a side character in that story. So then I had to pull him out completely from that story and give him his own thing, because if not, he would not shut up. So, now that other story needs to be reworked because I just pulled out an integral piece of that story. But if I would have left him in that story, it would have became about him when that story is not about him. So, that tells you a lot about how these characters like to come in and talk. So this guy, or this character I'm talking about, is a supernatural character who is a total mischief and is based on a cat.
Based on a cat. Does this cat have more than 9 lives?
Oh, yeah.
Does it weigh 300 pounds and have a very sourpuss look on his face and says, "I hate Mondays"? Yeah, does anyone remember that? Anyone remind you of Garfield? Yeah. And I agree with him. I hate Mondays. Everybody hates Mondays. I don't like going back to the grind. But still, someone's got to do it. But all good things. But good story there, man. I like that. That's interesting. Cat.
Yeah, I like saying that story because sometimes people go, like we were talking earlier, they don't understand the whole concept of what happens.
Right.
And there are times when a character in a story shouldn't be in the story. There are times where as you write the story, you start to get the feeling that either it's a character that has nothing to do in that story, or it's a character that would do things in the story to change the story in a way where you don't want them to change the story. And you got to keep these things in mind, because if you're writing a specific story, you need to know which character works for that story and which characters don't work for that story. And that's also a good way to find out if a character belongs in a story or not, because we do have like characters that we throw into a story, and you'll sit there going, why is this character in this story? And if you start to ask yourself that question, it's time to figure out if they should be in the story. I hope that makes sense.
Actually, I think I got it, but just in case, tell me that whole thing again. I wasn't listening. It's fine. I can wrap my brain around it in about 2 years, but still, it's all good, man. All good. What about you? I'm just curious, though. DM Weber, favorite characters you've written so far?
Well, I mean, there's only so many I've written, but with that said, Logan Cross is always going to be my guy, right? He is my full-time protagonist now. With that said, I've always said that, Logan Cross is me in my Coast Guard career if it had taken a different turn. But with that said, the other kind of secondary character that I've written that I think not only resonates really well with me, but seems to resonate so far with readers is a guy named Bull. Right, one of the teammates of Logan Cross from the MSRT, which is the Maritime Security Response Team, right? And Bull is one of those guys that he's got that dry sense of humor. He's like the muscle in every situation you never knew you needed, right? And the kinds of situations that he always seems to find himself in are situations where you're like, oh no, here we go again, right? He's going to do some Bull stuff, right? And it's just it resonates. It really hits hard for a lot of people, and most reactions I've heard so far have been, okay, we need more Bull, right? So, hey, I'll roll with it.
Awesome sauce, man. Awesome stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff. What about you, Essen St. Clair? Favorite characters you've written so far in your incredible career?
My favorite is going to be Johnny Oakes, who actually originally started out as just a side character in The Forgotten Girl, but kind of like Ralph was saying, it was like this character just kept yelling in my ear, like, give me my own story, give me my own story. So I ended up putting him in his own story, and which is While She Was Forgotten. So there's parts of that is, if you've read The Forgotten Girl, it kind of triggers your memory. You're like, oh, I've read about this, but it's all in his point of view. And then also kind of learning about who he is as a person, his background, his life, things like that. But it's funny because the kind of what we were talking about earlier, it's like he's talking to me and he's saying these things and I'm writing them down, and it's kind of like, are you sure you want to say that? Like, so He's my favorite. He's super likable, and he's just one of those characters that it's like he's not real, but he is at the same time.
Oh, I feel you.
Yep.
There you go. And just to get everyone up to speed here. This is the cover for The Forgotten Girl.
Oh, that's
It's got,
Nice.
cover.
Good cover.
it's got mystery written
Thank
all
you.
over it. I got the X-Files theme song playing in my head when I look at this cover.
You feel that mysterious feel.
Yeah,
to it.
it's very
atmospheric.
mysterious.
Yeah.
It's very mysterious. It's a great book. Check it out. We just gave it a 5-star review on Goodreads. # always support your friends and give them reviews. I know that's a long hashtag, but it's true. And it's a great book because it moves. It just moves. And by the way, I was picturing some people in my mind because when I read books, I tend to like fantasy cast who I would see in these roles potentially if that were the case. For the one who's experiencing all this mysterious stuff going, like in the second part of the story, S.N. St. Clair, more the one who's like discovering what happened at the camp and going through the files and all that kind of jazz. That character I was thinking of either Lauren Graham or like a younger Lauren Graham, and then I was also thinking of a younger version of Courtney Cox in that role.
I kind of imagined like Velma a little bit, but taller. I don't know.
So, does that mean you're thinking of Linda Cardellini from the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, who was Velma, like to play that character? I'm just saying, like.
No, like the original, just cartoon character.
Oh,
Velma.
the cartoon character. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say Linda Cardellini could play. She could play that character as well. Hypothetically, if you were going to cast. Yeah, that's who I was imagining in my head was either a younger version of Lauren Graham or a younger version of Courtney Cox. Figuring this out, going through the motions, all that kind of jazz. So there you go. There's some Hollywood fantasy cast if anyone wants to pick up the Forgotten Girl option as a movie or a television series. Which, by the way, you should. Forgotten Girl is freaking awesome. I'll stand by that. Here's a question to the field from our good friend Brina. Brina says, I got another question for you all. What made each of you first want to be what is known as a writer? Boy,
I feel like it just kind of, it's just something that's a part of you. I mean, ever since I was little, I would just always start writing stuff, and there's just all these stories that pop into your head that are just screaming at you to get them out on paper. I feel like is probably one of the biggest things for me. But there's just something also about writing where, in this day and age, in reality, the world sucks. There's all this stuff going on, and when you're writing, you are completely putting yourself in this whole entire new world in the body of this new character. And it's a super nice way to kind of get out of reality and into something that you can actually control.
Agreed.
Yeah, the world is a dark and scary place. Yeah, it's very whack. In the words of that movie that came out way back when, reality bites. Okay, honestly, that's like we all know this, right? Reality bites. But when we're sitting at our computer screens doing this, that, and the other, ding, 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 putting out, writing these words every day. Which, by the way, write however many words you want a day. You'll feel a lot better for it. Trust me. Telling stories is great. But anyone else have a thought on that? What made each of you first want to be a writer? DM Weber, do you have a thought on that, or do you need the Jeopardy theme music to be playing in your head again?
No, I always got a thought. No, with that said, I mean, I always did, read like, history and, nonfiction, things like that. Throughout my, college career, it was all like political science, things like that, revolution, Civil War. And so, I would write papers on things like that and think, okay, what if I were to create something else out of that, right? And that thought kind of always resonated in my brain, kind of, wound itself in circles, like, the hamster on the wheel, right? Just, it was always there. And so I think when the idea came to me last March to start writing Cold Front, it was, okay, go for it. Just full send. Don't even think about it. Just do it.
So in other words, like Nike, you just pulled a Nike, just do it. Okay,
exactly.
That's great. We need to put that on a shirt. Oh wait, it already is. We just don't get the commission for that. I wish we did. That'd be great. I need some royalties. Need some bonuses here, guys.
It's gonna get a different one.
I know. Well, hey, it's always so much we can do.
Right.
But yeah, anyone else have a thought on that question? Anyone else? What made you want to be a writer?
Well, I think before I started actually thinking of writing, I was an only child until I was 9. So my first storytelling was I would watch whatever I watched on TV, and then when mom shooed me out of the house to go play in the backyard, I was alone, so I had to use my imagination a lot, and so I would play the things I watched on TV, but instead of just copying, I would come up with new adventures, or the backyard became the planet, and I was a lieutenant on the Enterprise or something, and so you started coming, and so then I discovered comic books, and this little voice in the back of my head says, "That's what I want to do."
Yeah.
I wanted to draw comic books. So I started writing comic books to have something to draw. And turns out I was better at the one than the other. So it just kind of started from there. It starts rolling, and storytelling kind of gets in your blood a little bit. You find yourself, whether you're actively thinking, I need to write a story, your brain is still concocting them. Like we mentioned earlier, our characters talking to us. They're still doing that, whether you're actively working or not. And so eventually I was able to get work in the comic industry. And then that's when that little voice goes, "Yeah, but can you write a novel?" So I tried. And then, it just become that. And turns out I love doing it, which is helpful, because we put a lot of hours into what we do. So if you don't love it, it kind of becomes, a job or a hard job.
Yeah.
But I love what I do, and there's a lot of bonuses that come with this. I've gotten to meet a lot of wonderful people. I get to travel, a lot of things that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't doing this. So that's kind of where it started for me, was just wanting to get stories out of my head.
Gotcha. Good. Thank you for sharing that with us. Appreciate it very much. So, Raphael, do you have an true Hollywood story of what made you first want to be a writer before I share with you my true Hollywood story?
It's funny because when I was younger, it was first detective stories, because you had all these younger detective stories like Encyclopedia Brown, and I'm aging myself with that one.
I'm right there with you.
What are you talking about, man? You're only 25. What the heck are you saying?
and comic books, of course, And what started to happen was like, well, you read what you saw, and you're like, I can do this. And then you started creating your own stories, and you started putting it all together because it also was part of play, a part of imagination, part of having fun. You wanted to get these stories together, and then all of a sudden you found yourself with scrap paper writing down these things that were popping into your head. And the next thing you know, you were writing stories, and then it just kept evolving from there. And as a young kid in the 80s, I ended up watching on PBS, which is fantastic for you folks. PBS will get you your inspirations if you go looking for it. I was watching a whole thing, an interview with Joseph Campbell. And Joseph Campbell was going deep into storytelling, the hero's journey and all. And I sat there as a little kid, and I was like, whoa, what is this? And that just exploded my mind into wanting to write stories like that, where you crafted them, you made them, and there were these stories of epic heroes and myths and legends, because all stories have been told. It's just how you tell it. You guys have heard from us say a couple times tonight, but that's what it is. It's your voice. Your voice tells these stories. Your voice is different than everybody else's voice, and you may have similar things that happen, but your voice is unique. And I have to get all these stories out of my head because they'll drive me crazy, and the guys won't stop talking. So you gotta do something.
Yes,
right.
For me,
we're all nuts. Yeah.
We're all crazy. We're all in the asylum. It's the crazy folks who are running the asylum, isn't that right, fellas?
The people that bother me are the people that say they're not crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. That's fair. One of these days, the five of us should get together, go to a convention. I should walk into the room and just say, "Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds, Raphael, and then just pull up that boombox and play some Prince music as we're going around the convention hall, just handing out copies of our, like, giving out copies of our either business cards or an ebook, like a QR code to our ebook saying, party man, party man. We got Prince playing and we're just hanging out.
That's a great idea.
We should pass out all our business cards, all our QR codes, right? That's a good way to market yourself, right? That's a good way to get out of your shell a little bit.
You've got to do the Joker dance while you're doing it.
Dude, listen, I've watched that movie 6 billion times since I was 2 years old, brother. I can do the dance, I can do the imitations, the mimics, all of it. Like every single one of Jack Nicholson's idiosyncrasy, I got it down to it's science. But to answer the $2 billion question, because this is a great question by Brina in the chat, how do we become, what made us first want to start writing? So for me, it was a combination of things. One, there was this little thing called the lockdown 6 years ago. We were locked away in our homes, pandemic, it sucked.
Yeah.
But I was taking virtual workshops through my local library on how to write and how to piece together elements of a story. So they were like Zoom classes, right? So I was sitting at home taking notes, and then they said, okay, guys, we're going to do the lecture for 30 minutes, and we're going to have you write for an hour, and then we're going to come back at the end, and we're going to give you feedback on what you've written, because we want you to like read it out to us and share with us what you've done thus far, and then we're going to give you constructive feedback. You see what I mean? I said, yeah, sure, I can give it a shot. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm autistic. I struggle with dysgraphia, which means putting your thoughts down on paper is very difficult for me to do because I'm so good at speaking, as you could probably tell. And I gave it a shot, and as soon as I sent them my stuff and gave them like rough draft after rough draft after rough draft, they were like, you know what, Ryan, this is actually really good. This is your first time writing? I'm like, well, I mean, I wrote for my poetry magazine when I was in middle school, and I got a poem, and it was a haiku, but that's 575. That's not, I mean, yes, it's still writing, but it's not like the biggest challenge I've had up to date. And they're like, Ryan, this is very, very good. This is very good. You need to do this. You need to continue doing this. So I got some positive feedback from random people I don't know from these Zoom courses I was taking at the time. And then some years later, I saw the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast on social media, which is on YouTube. You can find that on YouTube. This is the logo for the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast, hosted by Nate and Luke of Veritas Entertainment. And they were talking about, hey, we're going to start a writers' Discord. We're going to gather new and veteran writers alike together. We want to help each other, support each other, learn more about each other and all that stuff. So as soon as I got into the Discord, I started, listening to how people got into writing and all that other stuff. And one night, this superstar, and she's actually in the chat, Brina Williamson posted a link to, in the Music of Adventure, it was Egyptian adventure music, like I spoke about earlier. And as soon as I heard that music, that made me feel like I was in The Mummy from '99 with Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz. The creative wheels just really started to turn. I'm like, oh, I'm having ideas for treasure hunter stories. I'm having ideas for westerns. I'm having ideas for X, Y, and Z. And then eventually Veritas was looking for submissions for Western Tales Volume 1. And I threw my name into the hat. I gave him a story called Wolf of the West, and it ended up being a part of this very anthology that you see before you.
Nice.
And it's available on Amazon, ebook, paperback, and hardcover. # always promote yourself. And there's a link in the description. You can check it out. Treat yourself, all right? Just pull a Parks and Rec on yourself. And from then on, I thought to myself, okay, I can actually do this now, because not only can I write, but something that I submitted actually ended up being an anthology that I had no expectation of getting into, because I'm a rookie. I'm green. I'm 5 feet nothing, 100 and nothing. I got not one speck of athletic ability, but yet they took my name and they put it in a book. So. Yeah, it was a combination of being in the right place, right time, with being with the right people, listening to them at the right time, and listening to that music, Raphael, the music. And the music just got it rolling, son. And now I got all these ideas. Some of them, yes, Bobby, I've written them down. Others are still whacking in my itty bitty little brain. So, that's basically how I started.
I think, too, it's important what you said there, too. It is important to have people that support you. Or at least encourage you.
I agree.
Because that is not always the case. Not everybody has that. I remember feeling very fortunate that in my high school days, when I was just getting the itch to do this stuff, I had a couple of teachers that were very supportive of giving me outlets to write stories as part of class instead, or pointing me in the direction of where I could put stories to use. And then throughout my career, I've run into people who have either just been encouraging and supportive, or just, hey, I read this and loved it, or that kind of stuff. Those, we can't overlook that, because what all of us do, most of it we do alone. We're in a room by ourselves.
It's a solitary thing.
It's a very solitary job. And so sometimes those outside forces, they impact us more than we realize. And
Oh, definitely.
right. So that's why we can write a book and 100 people read it. 99 people tell us it's good. One person says it sucks. That's what we focus on. So having people that can encourage you, just a nice attaboy every so often, or just
gratitude.
I'm so proud of you. You put out a book, or that's awesome. You did that. That stuff goes a long way.
It does.
Yeah, it does. When the Western Tales came out and everyone was getting messages and notices about, hey, I bought your book, blah, blah, blah. I got a few notices from some indie friends of mine that you brought up, Bobby. Some indie writer friends of ours bought a copy of Western Tales to say, hey, Ryan, I got the book. I'm going to read not just yours, I'm going to read everybody's story, but I'm definitely going to be reading yours. I thought, okay, this is good. I want to hear like that because, I put a story out. I don't know who's going to read it. I don't know who's not going to read it. I don't know. But when I get pictures from guys like you, Lou Tambone, who we know of, and a few others that we know of out there saying, Ryan, I bought the book. Here's the proof. I'm like, dog, you're my dog. Like, that's awesome.
And because it's
twofold.
The indie community, there's
it's
a lot
huge.
of us.
It's
so
huge.
It is impossible for everybody to buy everybody's books.
It's true.
But even when you've reached that limit where I can't buy this new book of yours, but I can tell people about it.
Yeah. Very
so
important.
There's a lot of that stuff that we do with each other. And even stuff like this podcast, we're all, we're all like promoting that we're on here. So
and in the words of Don Toretto, we're all family, right?
Yeah. So
we're all family.
If people that know my work come and watch this, now they're introduced to other writers they may not have heard of, and they may go,
genres.
That sounds cool. Let me go check that out. There's a lot of that kind of stuff that we can do to support each other. But just sometimes just encouragement helps a lot because, I remember how it was when I was, like you said, when you're green and you're starting out, I didn't know anything.
No,
I was, and I was insecure and I was, is this going to suck? Is everybody going to think I'm an idiot? Or, those are the things that are going through your mind. And so having someone give you just a little advice or encouragement or just a don't stop sometimes is enough. And I count myself fortunate that I've had a number of people through my life that have done that. And it means more. Sometimes it means more to the person receiving it than the person saying it knows,
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't, like you say, hey, great job on your book. You never know if that person was feeling like I'm a failure and I'm ready to give up.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that somebody liked those kind of things, because like I said, we're alone. We're writing these things in a vacuum. And when it goes out into the world, you don't always hear from the people that like it.
Oh yeah. We automatically hear from the people that hate it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing, guys.
Yeah. Critiques.
Exactly. Reviews, don't be that guy who you read your friend's book and go, it was good.
Yeah.
Or better yet, Raph, they can say, oh, I read your book, it sucked. It wasn't very good. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Even when you say that, though, you got to say, like, either way, either if you say that you didn't like it or you say you did like it, you have to say why.
You got to give us an explanation. Why does this not work for you? What is it that drove you to say, okay, this story didn't ring true for me like some of the other ones you wrote? Like, if they didn't like my Western, okay, tell me what you didn't like about it. What can I do to maybe fix, do better? Because if at first you don't succeed, try again. Exactly. So just keep
but you also have to remember those things are opinions.
Yeah, but true. They're not facts.
I've gotten reviews before that said
they're not facts.
I don't like thriller, so I didn't care for this book. It says thriller on the cover. God. But you get that. Sometimes you get those things.
I'm not the biggest fan of this. I'm not the biggest fan of the supernatural mystery stuff. But when I read S.N. St. Clair's book, it knocked me on my ass, and I'm like, holy crap! If this is what the road we're going at, potentially, just in terms of what her writing style is, what her storylines are, I'm like, okay, she writes short chapters that are to the point. She introduces the characters without throwing everything at the kitchen sink. She reveals layers to these characters gradually, right? Is that the right phrasing?
Yeah.
And then once the story's done, which by the way, the way the first book, I'm not going to give it anything away because that's not fair to the readers, S. and St. Clair, but I will say the way that book ends, specifically The Forgotten Girl, look it up. It's a great book. When that book ended, I thought, okay. I thought I had this figured out, but S. and St. Clair threw a tangled web in there, and now I got to read the sequel. So I just went on the website, which, by the way, she has her own website. You can buy books directly from her and signed. So I bought the sequel. I'm like, yeah, I got to read this. Why? Because the first one was so good, it knocked me on my keister, and it just blew me away of how good it was.
See, but Ryan, you're a good reviewer because what I keep running into today,
yes.
and I know you guys have seen this, especially with the fandoms,
probably,
is that somebody will decide they hate what you do or they hate whatever it is before they even read it. Before because they've already decided they hate it.
Still think it's wrong.
That's bad.
It's so bad. It doesn't make any sense.
And then you're also able to pull it apart. And that's important. Like if it's not your style of book, it's not your style of story, was it still a good read?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be something you like in order for it to be a good read. And that's important, and that's even a better compliment because that means that this is not usually my thing, or I don't like thrillers, but you wrote a good story.
Yeah.
See that now there's a compliment.
Yeah. But unfortunately, you don't always get the compliment.
Oh, you don't
get the complaint part.
You get like, this character was terrible, and I'm like, what? Like, well, that's the point. You're not supposed to like Johnny O. You're not supposed to like Sarah or.
And you've seen a lot of that recently, where this character's an asshole. I'm like, yes, he is an asshole.
Yeah,
that's the character's job is to be a punk. Like this one character in this one book we read, it's like, yeah, the person's an idiot. Well, why? Because he's making bad choices. Why? So to speak, depending on what the character in the storyline is, because everybody is different. Everybody is different. By the way, people are going like crazy how awesome we are in the chat. So here's a question for the field, if anyone's ready for this. So Dave has a question. He says, what is a rabbit hole that you've fallen into while doing research for your own book? Okay, so when I wrote my Western, I had to look up maps of the United States in the 1860s. And let me tell you, there are so many different maps of how this country looked, what the border lines looked like, and what the names of the smallest individual little towns were in Montana and Nebraska, and by the way, the Dakotas, I think it was, and down south. And I'm thinking, I better do more research because if I'm going to write about something taking place in Bisbee, I need to find a town that was actually connected to it, or pretend that something is actually connected. And it's like, and then here's another rabbit hole I kind of fallen into is research on weaponry in the Old West, also known as pistols. Remingtons. Just saying, they're Remingtons and they're Smith and Wessons and X, Y, and Z. So yeah, those are the rabbit holes I've fallen into. Anybody else have a rabbit hole they fell into while researching for their books?
I did. So first off, got to start with saying my search history is very questionable.
Yeah.
But I remember I was doing some research on, a type of drug, and I don't know anything about that stuff. So I'm like looking at it and I'm reading about it. And then you get into this rabbit hole and you're like, so that's how they make it. Those are the names that they call it. Like this is what you can do, and this is how you can die from it, and this is how you kill somebody with it. And it was like, okay. But
so the FBI knows that you they think you know a lot about it. Yeah.
I would. My search history is very questionable. I remember one time I asked and I looked up, like for Coke. I was like, what are the different types of it and things, and how do you get it? And then a few seconds later, you see the next question that says, so how does this kill somebody? So it's just...
if I had known you were going to go down that rabbit hole, I would have sent you a link to the 30-second PSA that we all watched when we were kids of Rachel Lee Cook doing "This Is Your Brain on Drugs" commercial. Do you remember that one where she says, "This is your brain. This is heroin. This is what happens to your brain after snorting heroin."
Yes.
This is what your body goes through. It's not over yet.
Now I'm reminded that I'm older because we had the egg. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs.
She used that. Rachel Lee Cook used that in the commercial. Yeah. She used an egg. She did. She literally used an egg, so you're not wrong. I mean, Rachel Lee Cook is from a different generation than yours, Bobby, with all due respect, but still.
No, it was later, yeah.
Yeah, this is your brain. This is what happens to your brain when you do these kinds of activities. Anyone else have a thought on what rabbit holes they went down in research?
Well, I'll mirror what Essen said, that my search history is a little questionable at times. Especially writing action scenes, things like that. It's like, okay, so would this person die from this injury? maybe in a certain way. Okay, cool. Yep, the FBI is definitely looking after me now. And then I mean, the other thing that kind of sounds weird, but like the rabbit hole of what is realism, right? And so if you've seen my cover, right, there are hull numbers and tail numbers on the helicopter and the boat in the cover, right? I actually went in depth trying to research and make sure that the tail and hull numbers were actually accurate, even on the cover. And I went way down a rabbit hole on that, making sure that, if anyone was from that area, they'd see those numbers and go, oh yeah, that's a Cape Cod bird. Oh yeah, that's a boat from Gloucester. Cool. Like the details matter. Right. And so like, I wasn't going to, release it with those numbers being inaccurate. Right. Someone looks at a helicopter and says, wait, that bird's from Traverse City, Michigan, not friggin' Cape Cod. Right? So
what's the code? Yeah, this is the sick-looking cover for your book, my friend. Cold Front, Logan Cross by DM Weber over here. Look how awesome-tacular that cover is. Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's going to draw some eyes. Yeah, I know. It looks like a movie poster, honestly. I feel like it's a movie we're about to walk in and see next weekend. Are we going to opening weekend, DM Weber? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's like every time you look at it, something new pops up.
Exactly.
Like I didn't see the helicopter at first in the flag,
Yeah.
So
it's insane, isn't it? It's amazing stuff. Yeah, we've gone down rabbit holes. It happens. Here's another question and a fun fact about one of our writers. Brina Williamson says, fun fact, I'm writing my next Morona Grant adventure novel while I listen to you all. But here's a related question. Can you multitask and write with distractions, or do you all need complete silence to fully focus?
I can't do complete silence. I got to have a TV show or I have to have music playing. I can't. The silence, for some reason, is more distracting to me. And then I kind of like get in this zone if I'm like, wait, I need to clean this in the kitchen. I need to do laundry. I don't know why that happens, but if I'm listening to the music, then I'm in the zone.
Yeah. That sounds like a writer,
Sounds like the mind of a writer.
So I'm going to write, but first I'm going to do all this other stuff that's
this list.
Lists.
Get done.
I don't like the silence. Now I can't write with a TV on. That I can't do that.
Especially if you got reruns of your favorite show, Rocket Files, The A-Team, Knight Rider.
Now
it has to be reruns.
Yeah.
For
now
me.
I can do the artwork. I do artwork while I'm watching TV.
Oh, do you?
Stuff I've seen before.
Does that mean are you watching Spider-Man while you make your bookmarks?
No, I could, but but usually it's something I've seen, because if it's something new, you're paying more attention.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm watching. I'll put on a rerun of whatever and just stream
Magnum PI.
Yeah, so it's just playing in the background. But I can't write that way. I can write with music, but I can't write with the TV because I ever so often just look up to see, But yeah, I'm much like I said. The too silent is just ugh. It's almost louder than the music. The silence.
Exactly.
I hate to say this. Yeah, I hate to say this, but earlier on, I was a big fan of silence. But nowadays, and this goes for everybody in this room, I can't do it without music. I have to have music playing, especially if it's a story in a particular genre. I try to write genre-specific music, or I'll put on. It's called. This is the beauty of the interwebs. When you go on this little thing called YouTube and you type in "work music for concentration" in the search box, work jazz comes up. And it's basically just a piano playing. It's jazzy piano music playing. And by the way, the picture on the screen is a cup of coffee, a laptop, and a pen. I'm like, yeah, I can get with this. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And that keeps you focused. So there you go. So I didn't mean to cut you off, Bobby, but continue.
That's okay. I will say, though, I am not a fan of like interruptions of a phone call or anything.
Yes.
Because when you're the music, you can still be in the zone. You kind of tune that out. It becomes background noise. But if someone knocks on the door, opens the door, or the phone rings, creativity is not a faucet. You don't just turn it off and turn it back on. Sometimes if your concentration gets broken, you're done. Or it takes a little while to get back into it. So I was
gonna say, I can say people can get kind of funny with it because I do have the concentration where somebody will walk into the room and they're talking to me. I don't hear a thing. They can say whatever they're gonna say, and they'll leave the room and they'll come back to me later. Goes, why didn't you answer me when I was talking to you before? I'm like, you talked to me. So I try to avoid that, because what happens is that you get into a flow You get into this groove, and when you're in that flow of groove, you don't want to take yourself out of it. And when people come in and do that stuff, it kind of does. And like you were saying, it's not a faucet. You don't turn it on and off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to train. I used to roommate with my brother, and I had to train him because sometimes he would just come knock on my door and just open it up, and I'd say, "What's up?" And he'd go, "Oh, I just wanted to say hi." And I was like, well, "You just killed the flow of the work, dude." So I had to kind of train him not to do that. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's like that. What you were saying, Raph, about the faucet, you can't turn it on and off. It kind of reminds you of what John Rambo said. Nothing is over. Nothing. Just don't turn it off. Because you can't. The creativity is always going to be spinning my wheels, man. When I'm at work or outside of work, my wheels are always turning with ideas for stories or ideas for a character or idiosyncrasies for a character or something that a character doesn't like. Or they don't like bugs. When bugs are in the room, they run away when they see a bug. It's like, okay, there's a trait for a character, right? There's something that the character does not like. Or somebody pulls out a specific meal. I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe my character would like this. Yeah, maybe he's a fan of that. Okay, so it just gets you thinking a little bit. It's amazing stuff. Yeah, yeah. For me, I have to have music that's either related to the genre or work concentration type music playing when I'm doing my thing. So there you go. Michael says, I'm dyslexic and ADHD, so I'm a distraction machine. But if it's the right music, though, I can multitask myself. Okay. More power to you, brother. Brina says, I love listening to music while I write. It helps me get in the zone. Auto zone. No, it's not the auto zone. It's not the auto zone.
Danger zone, man.
As DM Weber would tell us, it's the danger zone, brother.
As soon as she said zone, first song popped into my head. It started playing. I'm like, here we go.
Exactly, it's Kenny Loggins. It's an amazing thing. And then Brina goes on to say, glad the music I share inspired you to take up the pen. Yeah. So give credit where credit's due. All the pieces that came together to inspire me to write just came at the right place, right time. So thank you to everybody who contributed to that. And yes, Brina, Music of Adventure thread. I remember it was a great piece of music. It's a great thread, which still is there to this day. And it's fun learning from everybody because we learn from each other. I can't do this by myself. I'm learning from all four of you, just sitting here having this ridiculously good-looking conversation. On the Writer's Showcase, don't forget to like and share. If you have any questions about our sanity, let us know in the comments. Yeah. Let us know in the...
If you see a writer doing something that you like, steal it.
Yeah, pull Ocean's 11 and just steal everything.
Well, not necessarily the idea, but still how they do that.
It's funny that you say that, Bobby, because it took me a long time. Because this is one of the best things you can do as a writer. What we're doing right now,
roundtable discussion,
with writers. Yeah. But as writers, the first thing we go, they're gonna steal my story, and I'm but I realized that which is one of the things we've been saying here, and which was started to help me be able to talk to people about my stories. Is that even if they write the story that's similar to yours, that's exactly what it is. It's a story that's similar to yours. It's not your story.
Yeah.
Only you can write it your way.
Yeah. I also, early in my career, because I do a lot of conventions, I would, not only for the writing purposes and the creating purposes, but I would watch how other creators who I admired treated people. How they handled themselves on panels, how they handled themselves doing signings. And they'd be like, I like this creator. Why? And I would watch. And I would learn a lot about how they interacted with people, which kind of informed how I interact with people. Yeah. So you can learn you can also learn the other way. You can go, ooh, I don't want to be like that guy. That guy, that guy turned, that's not working for me. It puts me off. So I don't want to do that. So you can learn kind of how to find your rhythm by seeing how other people do
it. Awesome. So, by the way, can I just say one thing? I am so grateful for this chat because the live chat is just on fire with these questions.
Crazy.
They are going nuts. So
they don't even need us. They
don't need it. No, honestly. The whole conversation. But here's something I do want to bring before I address the gentleman's question. So Brina says, also, you're all doing a great job of pitching those books during right now or earlier on. I think I need to get a copy of St. Clair's Thriller. It sounds great. Yes, you freaking do. All right.
Already ordered mine.
See? Okay. Now let me ask you this.
That's how it works, folks.
Let me ask you this. Did you order it directly from her website so you can get it signed and mailed to you?
I will order a second copy just for that reason.
There you go. All right.
There it is.
See, he got the right answer.
Yeah, exactly. Like Raphael says, good answer. Good answer. So you bought 2 copies of an incredible thriller. There you go. See, S. and St. Clair, your numbers are rising, your buy rates are going up. I mean, just.
And when it changes, you'll see our website right there, so you can go right to our website.
While you guys are discussing this next question, I'm going to drop S. and St. Clair's website in the comments so people can check that out, because it's a great website, and she has a newsletter that you can sign up for. Isn't that right? So
Yes.
Yeah, there is a newsletter. Yeah, it's great. Thank you, Brina, for all the wonderful comments. By the way, here's the question from Brett. Am I saying this right? Brett says, does anybody ever use what is known as artwork to inspire or propel their own writing, similar to how listening to music might help keep you within the zone, writing zone, or danger zone? Can or has artwork jump-started your creative process? Ooh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. And while I'm playing the Insert Jeopardy theme song here, I'm going to drop some links to some fine authors that you may want to check out in the chat, so stay tuned. But anyone have a thought on that one?
Yeah, honestly, it's funny because, mentioning the cover, for mine, right? When I was doing the rewrites and all the revisions and editing, my editor was just slamming me with all these, recommendations and things on how to make it better. I kept glancing back at the cover, right? I put it on my desktop, my laptop, right? I was like, okay, so if I'm picturing the greatness that is that cover, how am I going to make the book itself match? How am I going to make the narrative match the epicness of that cover, right? And it really drew me back into why I started in the first place.
Yeah, covers, especially when once you're a few books in,
definitely.
Those covers are good inspiration. Certainly with Snow, I've got these wonderful Jeffrey Hayes covers. So if I ever need to get a little Snow inspiration, I can look at what he's done already. And sometimes you just want to
back there,
and sometimes you just want to sketch out ideas, or I take photos as well when we travel. Like Ryan mentioned earlier, during the pandemic when we were all kind of, in limbo, my father and I would take road trips. We wouldn't actually go we would stay in the vehicle, but we would drive and we would take these all-day trips. And it became a little bit of a running joke because I write a lot of thrillers, and I would make the comments, I'd start snapping photos of locations. And my dad's like, what are you doing? And I was like, that's a perfect place to hide a body. And it became this running joke to this day whenever he and I take a trip. He's like, could you find a body over there? And so I sometimes do that where it's not necessarily artwork, but photos of locations will then inspire me to set something in that location because I've walked it, I've felt it, I've experienced it, I've got the photos, and that helps. But yeah, all that stuff, anything that inspires you is perfect. I know some writers do vision boards and things like that. I mean, whatever works to get you in that zone, do it.
Do it. Do it now. And get to the chopper. Anyway, sorry. We watched Terminator 2 Judgment Day the other night, so I got Arnold Schwarzenegger turning in the brain. Because we did a 35th anniversary watch along for T2 Judgment Day, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great show. In case you haven't seen it, look at the Movie Nerds playlist. It was me, Case, and Lori Calcaterra, indie comic creator, who's got Path of the Pale Rider Kickstarter going right now. So that was fun. It was a good time. As far as artwork goes, I mean, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but when I look at the Snow poster, I'm like, holy crap! I want to write something like that because these stories, they're just bonkers, awesome.
Oh my god!
I wish I had the one
concept.
I wish I had. Yeah, that's the collection.
Right, but you had a concept. You had a concept of him in armor gear, like Army Ranger gear with the AK-47.
Well, that one was Jeffrey when he was like, I want to do your covers.
Yeah.
He goes, I will send you a generic poster. And that's what he sent me. And I'm like, you and I have very different definitions of generic.
Yeah, I was about to say, you said generic? That wasn't generic.
And so, it was, but we talk out it's when you find a cover artist that's really great to work with, I don't I can leave a lot of it up to him. I'll just say, here's what the book is about. And I don't really have to worry about it. I know he gets it and we'll figure that out. And once you find people that can do that with you, you stick with them as long as possible, because
Mhm.
it's great having people that understand what you're
Oh, definitely.
like. They can see what's in my head better than I can explain it sometimes, which is a sad thing for a writer to say, but so yeah.
No, don't worry, Bobby. I say it all the time. I'll be sitting there going, I'm a writer. I should be able to explain this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I can make stuff up all day, but you want me to tell you something for real?
It's insane. I was, while you guys were talking, I was trying to find the concept, the early artwork for Snow that you had, Bobby. But
actually, I've got it. Hang on a second.
If you have it, because I'm trying to Google images this thing and it's not there. But let's see here. Brina answered the question herself. She says, I often get ideas for stories from art, Brett. As an artiste, I will often create art of my characters before I come up with their story. That was how I was creating Mona Graham, my pulp adventure heroine. There you go. Oh, let me see that, Bobby. Let me see for a second. Hold on. Look how awesome that concept
is. This is Jeffrey Hayes' idea of a generic cover.
That is not
generic. No, not at all.
I mean, it's giving me some Logan Cross vibes a little bit. I don't know. Or maybe J.K. Wolf's Jake Hart. I don't know. Like, it's giving, you know what I mean? Like, I look at this and I'm like, okay, this is great for Snow, but it's also giving me Logan Cross and Jake Harper and, some of the other characters I've discovered recently. I'm trying to think, what was the other one I discovered? What was it? Anyway, that concept is just bonkers crazy.
Yeah, but that was his idea of a generic cover.
That's not generic at all. It's freaking amazing. It's like a movie poster come to life. Honestly. But yeah, no. And I can bring this up too here momentarily, but let's see. Brett says, very cool, and thanks to the authors for answering my question. Yeah, hey, Brett, we're here for you, dog. Just ask us questions. Ask us questions. The door to our office is always open, for real. And Brina says, that poster of yours, Bobby, is amazing.
Yes, and Jeffrey does sell them.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts them on T-shirts. I know Ryan has a couple of the Snow T-shirts.
That's what I'm actually trying to find right now on tpublic.com, so I can drop that link in the freaking chat, because the T-shirts are freaking awesome, and they don't get any better than, I mean, they're just so good.
Yeah, he is fantastic. He is a fantastic collaborator, wonderful artist. Yeah, just a great person in general. So yeah.
Yeah, I may not have the link here right now, but we'll play the promo at the end for PlazaFileGraphics.com, because, like I said, Jeffrey Hayes, when the look of your book matters to you.
Well, if you go to abrahamsnow.com, which is the Snow site, there's links to his site. His
there is. Okay,
yeah, I got them there. So
okay, the good news is I put a link to BobbyNash.com in the chat.
They're there as well.
They're all there, which is how. Brett, why do you keep asking me so many? We're not asking me because it's not about me. I'm not the main event here. Everyone in this room is the main star of the show. How does everyone treat word count within their stories? Is there a target that you're aiming for, or do you just let the story dictate where the count leads?
No word count for me. I honestly don't even look at it. It's the story flows how it's going to flow, and there's just going to be as many words as there needs to be for that story, for that chapter.
She's not wrong.
I disagree to a point.
Uh-oh. We're gonna have a fight on this show.
No. For me,
I'm just kidding.
Because if I'm writing a series, they all need to be about the same word count. Because if you get to book 3 and they're $20 a piece, and book 4 is twice the size and now it's $40, your audience is pissed. That's what I found. So it may be different for everybody, but that's what I found. So I try to keep, roughly the same size in a series. But mostly word count is important when I work for publishers, because they come and say, I need a story that's X number of words. And so
that's very true. Agents will be like, yeah, nope, you got to have at least 80,000 words.
Yes, they set the tone. But now if you're writing standalone books, absolutely, whatever size it works, great. But just for me, if I'm doing a series, the Snow books have to be roughly, I mean, I'm not exact, but there's a 30 to 35,000 words per novella. When I do or Evil Ways and Evil Intent, those are both 100,000 word novels. So both books needed to be around 100,000 words, just for continuity's sake and your audience, keeping your audience expectations going. But when I do a standalone, yeah, it could be whatever the story dictates. And it also, like I said, if you're doing it yourself, you're your own boss. So then those have more of a, yeah, whatever it needs, we can do it this way, or whatever. But and then but I just look at it as cost to the reader. If I'm going to do a series, I want them all to be roughly the same price and all of that. So.
Yeah, but Bobby's telling the truth. It all depends on the project, because especially if you're working on comics, all the comics. If you're working on a series, they all need to be about the same size. Sometimes you can do a double issue or something like that, but usually you're working on a set thing.
Yeah, and you're not doing word counts there. You're doing page counts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Swashbuckling September is where they're looking for. Veritas Entertainment's looking for submissions from all writers, not just people within the Men's Adventure Fiction Discord that Essence, St. Clair, and I and a few others are in, but they're looking for anybody who wants to submit one. So Swashbuckling September, the deadline is August 25th. They're looking for short stories between 1,000 to 5,000 words. If you have any other specific questions, go to their Instagram page. They laid out what they're looking for, what's acceptable, all that kind of stuff. I've never done a swashbuckling story, but I like swords, because one of the first stories I ever witnessed as a little youngling, as 6 years old, was a little indie thing called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and the Red Ranger carried a sword, and it was awesome. So I'm going to try my hand at writing something for Swashbuckling in September, because first of all, September is my birthday month. What's up? And secondly, who doesn't like a good pirate story, or who doesn't like a good treasure hunter story with swords being involved? You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Also, it's part when you do things like that with publishers, where they do that. Here this is what we're asking for: 1,000 to 5,000 words.
Yeah, 1 to 5K.
That is also the first test to see if the author can follow instructions. Mm-hmm. Because I guarantee you, they will get multiple 10,000 word stories submitted. They will get stories from people that do not follow the instructions. And those, they'll just immediately go, nope. Those are step one of, can you follow instructions?
And it's interesting too, because as a writer, sometimes you have constraints that you need to work on. I do a lot of these. I do a lot of writing on vocal, and vocal usually you have to have from 600 to whatever words, depending on what you're writing, because vocal has multiple contests. And you can win money on the contest, and also on vocal, you get paid per read. So the bigger following that you build, the more money you get, because you're getting paid per read on what you're doing. And as each contest is going, which you guys know, either you'll get you need either from something between 600 to 3,000 words, or you need to get to at least 600 words. And it's always funny to me, because when you got to get to something, it changes your story. You got to put that into account as well. Because my whole thing is I'm just like you. I don't look at it and go, well, I need to do a certain amount of words, and that's what the story. I go, when the story is told, the story is told. I don't care. So to me, it's a little more difficult when I'm writing to a certain number of words.
Well, I also think I've been doing this a while, so I've gotten to where I know I've got to turn in a 10,000 word story. I kind of know it. I know what I can do and not. But yes, in the early days, especially, that 10,000 word limit would come, it would shoot past. And then you would have to go, okay, I'm about 3,000 words over. We got to start cutting stuff.
Yeah.
But, practice has made it a little easier for me to write to that limit. But yeah, it also teaches you an economy of, like, when you're in a novel, we can take these little side character beats and have them and things like that that may not move the plot, but it's very integral to the characters. You cut that crap. I don't put that stuff in a short story generally. It's the plot.
Yeah.
And so, but it's just a learning curve, and it depends on what the publisher is asking for, and there's a lot of that, because I do a lot of work for other people so I have to kind of follow into. They have a lot of guidelines, not just word count, but type of story, rating, language, what can go in, what can't go in. And then if you go into media tie-in stuff, the list of do's and don'ts is sometimes longer than your arm.
I think that's a discussion for another show because there's a million questions we need to get to before we lose track of our insanity. But yeah, no. Any other final thoughts on the word count stuff before I move on to the next question?
Yeah, quick one. I mean, so like with certain categories, with certain genres, right? So obviously there are certain conventions that people expect, right? Readers in that genre will expect. And for instance, I mean, most of the time you can do a quick Google search on that before you even start writing. But you kind of keep that in the back of your mind. At least I do. So, for instance, the first book I think hit like 74,000 words. Typical thriller is like 70,000 and 90,000. So I just kind of kept that in the back of my mind. Okay, if it's like way short of that, all right. So maybe I ought to like beef this up a little bit, right? Do some more, show versus tell, right? Or and then the second one I think hits about 82,000. The third one's tying up all those loose threads in the end of the trilogy, so that hit almost 100,000, right? So it just kind of changes with the amount of storytelling that you're doing, that you need to do. But you just kind of keep that word count maybe in the back of your mind as kind of a afterthought of like, okay, well, if I go way past that or way under, then okay, I'm probably not doing justice for my reader.
Right on, man. Right. Good answer to those questions. So very good stuff. This show's been on fire. Don't forget to like and share. If you have any questions for our writers, let us know in the comments. Grayson has a question. Grayson says, question to the field. What is everyone's feelings on what is known as serialized fiction, such as Royal Road? Would you try it? Have you found success? Help a guy out, SN St. Clair.
I don't even know what Royal Road is, so
neither do I. I have no idea.
I would not be a good person to answer this.
I mean, I guess in a general sense, do you have any thoughts on serialized fiction, or are you familiar with serialized fiction? Any of that? No. Okay. Well, we tried. Anyone else have a question before I move on to the next one? That'll probably make more sense.
He says serialized, and I automatically see. But I'm older. I automatically think about those little books that you see serialized. Like the old westerns, and that you read every week, and it was like little novels. That's when I hear serialized, that's what I think about. Or comic
here's an explanation for you. Here's an explanation for you, SN St. Clair. Royal Road is where you release your work one chapter at a time, and people pay you per chapter.
Whoa!
I do something similar on Patreon. As I'm writing like the Stowe books or whatever, I release a chapter at a time, and it's the early draft, so they're kind of getting it raw. But they can follow. It's almost like your patrons become like beta readers almost. But I enjoy doing that. And what it helps me do is it helps me write more because I've got to get that chapter done a week. So I do just a chapter of that, but I'm working on other stuff. And so I can do more stuff that way. And, it's giving them people who are paying money for something. It's giving them a little
sneak peek.
Do that. Now I've never used Royal Road, so I'll have to look that up because I don't have any experience with it. But yeah.
Does that help explain what's going on in this situation, SN St. Clair?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that makes sense. I've never heard of it though. I don't know if I've ever I don't think I've ever come across anybody personally that does that.
I've heard people do like our friend here, where they're on their Patreon, they're doing something like that, but I've never heard anything like this.
Yeah, I've seen people on Substack as well.
Substack, that's another one.
People do it on Substack as well.
That's another one. That's a huge one. A lot of our friends in our both Discords that I'm in, they do Patreon and Substacks. So maybe something to look into for other writers down the line. I don't know. It's up to you. I'm going to leave that up to the discretion of the writer. But goodness heavens almighty, this chat is on fire. What would you say are 3 fictional books that belong on everyone's bookshelf that are not ones that you've written or published, SN St. Clair?
Well, I was going to do a shout out for T.G. Brown, but somebody's decided not to show up. So
him too.
I will still do it. Definitely, T.G. Brown has been writing several books, and I absolutely love all of them. And I probably still hold it near and dear as his very first book, Tribal Honor. I definitely think that is a book that everybody has to have. Another one would be, it's kind of hard. I really like several Stephen King books, but I'd probably have to go with Pet Sematary. And then another one would probably have to be I mean, I said this last time, I'll say it again, it's the Twilight series. You know, people watch the movies and see the movies and they're like, oh, that's so dorky and things. But if you read the books and don't think about the movies, it's actually a really great story.
All right. Good answer. Good answer. And Brett says, I think Stephen King's The Green Mile was released as a serial at one point. I didn't know that. If it was, I mean, I don't know if that was the case or not. I don't know. Book wise,
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was released as like little novellas.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It was each. So you could get part of the story, and then
didn't know it.
It was. I think they were released quickly, but yeah.
Fair enough. But good answer, by the way, S. and St. Clair. Got to give a shout out to that old man King, didn't you? Stephen King.
Of course, we have the same birthday.
Oh, that's right. You two have the same. You do have the same birthday between you and Stephen King. Wow, that's awesome sauce right there. How about? I don't know how you're going to top that one, DM Weber, but hey, we'll give you a shot at it. Three books that belong on everyone's bookshelf. What would you say to that?
Well, again, I kind of stick to what I know, what I write, and that is to say, Terminalist, I think, has always been, I think, one of the top on my list for being on everyone's shelf. In the world of military thrillers, you can't beat it. To that end, you go back in the past, and one of the predecessors to that I think really laid the groundwork for it was Tom Clancy's Without Remorse. I mean, the character of John Clark before he becomes John Clark. Everyone probably wanted to know that at some point, and Tom Clancy said, "Okay, here you go." Right, and it is a brutally hard-hitting story. With that said, again, jumping back to indie authors, I'm still going to give a shout out to J.K. Wolf, despite him not showing up. Shadows of the Badge and Shepherd's Wake.
There you go. See, we may be upset with both of them right now because they broke our hearts tonight, but still, we can give them a bit of a shout. By the way, Grayson says, S. and St. Clair didn't say The Hobbit. She's canceled. No, she's not. She is not. Who cares? The Hobbit, man. I mean, J.R.R. Tolkien. Yeah, we can give him a shout out. But
I'm coming for you, Grayson.
Yeah, I think she. Yeah, Grace. I think you just made yourself a new. She's at. Well, Grayson's in the Discord with us, so she's gonna text. Great, they're gonna have a bit of conflict, but still, it might be fun to watch. Brina says, "I still need to read Tribal Honor by T.G. Bryce." Yes, yeah, you do. Mm-hmm. You should just read all 5 of his books. I think he's released 5 up to this point. So read all of them. Read all the Tribal Honor. What's the other one? S. and St. Clair. Jericho Burning. There's Cut Them Down. Right. There's Clear Lake Salvation, which S. and St. Clair makes a cameo in when it comes to the trailer for that book. Yeah, it's true, guys. It's true. She's famous. And let's see what else. Oh gosh, Silence That Follows the other one.
Yes, that was the one I was thinking. Yep.
Yeah, this is the latest one that he wrote, Clear Lake Salvation by T.G. Brown, and that is the inspiration for the cover of this book was in fact S. and St. Clair looking like that character. So there you go. Yeah, isn't that true? That's you on the cover, isn't it? In that outfit.
That's not me. That's not me. But I played her in his book trailers for it. I had to wear a red wig. Cool. Mm-hmm. So I played in that part, and then I directed the lake water scene. So
see, she's famous. Awesome sauce. By the way, Michael goes on to say, "Lord of the Rings is great." I've heard that for 25 years. Okay, I've heard it. We get it. Lord of the Rings is great. I get it. No one simply does not mention J.R.R. Tolkien once and gets away with it. Let's see. Bobby Nash, I know this is going to be very hard for you because you have so many favorite kids out there. But if you had to pick 3 favorite books that need to end up, and I do mean end up, on every single human being's bookshelf on God's green earth, what 3 books are you going to say, you got to get these 3 books or we're not friends anymore, period?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But
no, I'm just kidding.
I would say that the Airframe by Michael Crichton is absolutely phenomenal.
I never heard of it.
He made me care about an investigation to a plane crash.
I never heard of this before, ever.
I've read a lot of his stuff, and it's probably my favorite of his books.
Really? Have you read this one?
I have read that one, and
Are you familiar with this? You ever heard of this one?
Yes, I love that one as well.
So, I think it's about lizards.
I like that one. I actually like the book better than the movies.
Ooh.
I love the movies, but I think the book is better. So Airframe would be one. I would also say, just because it's a series that I love so much and has so much cultural impact, is The Black Ice, which is the first Harry Bosch novel. by Michael Connelly. I think everybody should, if you're into crime fiction, that's an incredible one. The third one's tough, but there's a book that I just love that I think more people should read. It's called Sable by Mike Grell, which is a novel that retells the comic book series, the first story arc in the comic book series, John Sable Freelance. And the comic is awesome. The book is phenomenal.
Interesting. You just gave me a few of these I've never heard before. So
just added to your TBR pile, didn't I?
Like I said, all four of you are making my life even more insane. Michael says, love Michael Crichton. His book Sphere got me to read when I was a younger lad. How about that? I've heard of Sphere, but I never read it.
The book is better than the movie. The movie's not so good. The book is fantastic. He's written a lot. I would also recommend, if you're looking for Crichton stuff, I mean, the Andromeda Strain is fantastic.
I didn't know that was Crichton. Okay.
Yeah. And Timeline.
Yeah.
Because
they made a movie with Paul Walker, and it was directed by Richard Donner. Yeah.
And in both cases, the books are better than the movie, I think. Not that the movies are bad, but the books are phenomenal.
Dude, I grew up in the two. Okay, I like Timeline. Show some love.
The movie is good. The book is great.
I get it. By the way, Brett has a question regarding Crichton. Has anyone ever heard of Michael Crichton's Dragon Teeth? It's his Western story. It's so good. I never heard of that.
It's one of the books. I haven't read it, but it's one of the books that he had started and then decided it wasn't ready, and he put it away.
Really?
And he didn't finish it.
Huh.
But after his death, they pulled it out and gave it to another writer to finish it.
I was not aware of that.
There have been there are at least four books that he abandoned that have been finished by other writers since his death.
Since his untimely passing. Yeah. Wow, we're learning all kinds of things about Michael Crichton. And by the way, speaking of Michael Crichton, R.I.P. to Dr. Alan Grant himself.
Yeah.
Samuel passed away this week. Very sad. 78 years old, too.
And if and we talked about action adventure stuff. Crichton in the 60s used to write pulp novels under the name John Lang.
I didn't know
those are. Yes, they've since republished them as Michael Crichton writing as John Lang, so you can find them. There's new printings of them. But yeah, he did like 5 or 6, and they're just like pulpy thriller novels.
Man, I'm learning all kinds of fun facts here. I don't know how you're going to beat that one, Raphael. But if you have 3 books to add to everybody's bookshelf, you can go right ahead.
I'm going to go a whole different direction with this.
Whole different direction.
I'm going to start with, of course, like I said, Joseph Campbell. Journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want to be a writer, this is something you should really dive into.
We dived into it in my college courses.
Dude, this is just amazing. It kind of breaks down storytelling. And that's what you want to do. And of course, if you're into comic books, you want to get Dirk Manning's Right or Wrong. You know, this is one of the books that actually helped me out on the whole thing of writing comics. You know, Dirk Manning does a great job at pulling it apart. He talks about a lot of the stuff that we were talking about here on the show today, where if you find a good team, you want to stick with that team because creating anything is a team effort. You know, and of course, we saw the other one earlier where you want to go and check out Stephen King's On Writing. You know, if you want to be a writer, this would be a great place to start.
That Right or Wrong book I got to add to my list now because I have an idea. I want to put together a Kickstarter in the first quarter of 2027 for a one-shot comic. I want to piece that together, Raph. So you're gonna have to send me the link to that book, or if you find a copy of it in one of your bookstores in your neighborhood, let me know and I'll pay for the shipping or whatever it is. So let me know. I'm down for that. That's something I need to put in my resource section of my library in my studio.
I'll do even better. I'll connect you with Dirk, and you guys can have a conversation.
Or Dirk would be a great guest.
or we can get him on the show, and then we can just talk.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
Like, okay, you know people who know people who know people. That's great. Wow, you're way too for your own good.
Dirk Manning is an amazing writer. He's been writing comics for a long time. He does a lot of comic books. You guys should check him out. His series are amazing. He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Man, is there anybody you don't know in these circles? Good God. Jeez, you're killing me, man. Grayson's giving you the thumbs up on Joseph Campbell there. That's like, Yeah, I have the what's it called? The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell. I have that paperback over here in my TBR.
That's the interview I'm talking about.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because they did a whole interview called "The Power of Myth." I got the DVD somewhere back here.
Yeah, it's right over here. I have it on my TBR shelf because everything on my shelf is unfortunately SN St. Clair's TBR. It's really bad. It's pathetic. But
mine gets prioritized.
Oh, does it? Do you prioritize it? Is that how you do it? So
yeah.
Okay. Do you have a level, like level one is top, second one is secondary, and then third one's like bottom of the barrel? How do you organize it?
Oh, I was saying that my book on your TBR gets to go prioritized.
Oh, sorry. So While She Was Forgotten is the name of the book she's referring to. It's called While She Was Forgotten because The Forgotten Girl is the first one, if I'm not mistaken. This is the next. So, yeah. Okay, thanks for telling me that. Brett says, I loved Campbell's Hero with 1,000 Faces. All the goods, all the heavens, all the hells are within us. So, wow.
Yeah.
That's deep, Brett.
That's another book that you guys should check out is Hero with 1,000 Faces. It talks about how the hero has many faces.
And it also inspired Lucas to make Star Wars, so.
All of this stuff inspired Lucas. It was interesting. When I saw the interview, he was talking about Star Wars and how him and Lucas were talking about it. And Lucas told him that was the inspiration. And it was interesting. It was really interesting.
Jeez, you're gonna make our lists are just gonna be 600 miles long, and it's pathetic, and I hate all of you for it. But still, I do want to take this opportunity at this very particular moment in time to say thank you to everybody for joining us for this episode of the Writer Showcase. This has been a blast from start to finish. I don't know if anyone wants to come back and do this again sometime when they get their sanity back. But if they do, we welcome them all. And thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much to every single one of you. Loved your comments. Loved your questions were great because the thing we were talking about behind the scenes here before we did this show. The plan for this week. As St. Clair said, I want people to ask us questions. Bring all the questions. I want to see all these questions. I want to answer every single one of them. This is why I'm here, Ryan. If they're not going to chime in and ask us questions in the chat, you can tear up my contract. I'm not coming back. So, as St. Clair, I hope we satisfied your need for questions about writing on this broadcast. Did we satisfy that? Like, did we help with that at all?
Yeah. Questions, questions, but Tyler not being here,
Yeah, Tyler and JK are not going to get a pass from DM Weber, myself, and Essence St. Clair. So we're going to text them. We're going to call them. I think some of you guys over there in the PNW have their phone numbers. So give them a holler. Let them know what's going on. Tell them that they failed us and that they are traitors and that they are not welcome back on the show. No, I'm just kidding. If they do want to appear in a future installment of the Writer Showcase, the door to our office is going to be open for that because J.K. Wolf, T.G. Brown are two of the coolest cats of the bunch. But I think Essence St. Clair and DM Weber got them beat, but that's okay. It's all right.
Ryan, I have to say, you did a great job on the Time Enforcers video for the Kickstarter.
Yeah, okay, so quick little behind the scenes here. So there's a Kickstarter going on right now for Time Enforcers. I think it's issue number 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
It's on Kickstarter. It's an educational, time-traveling adventure comic for all ages, for everybody, not just for kids, but it's for adults. And they asked me to do a voiceover as a newscaster from the 30s, 40s, something like that. So it's like old classic, classic like film noir, like Humphrey Bogart. So I channeled my inner boogie, and I said, the promise of the world are not in my department. And I did the voiceover similar to what I just told you. And the video is up now on the Kickstarter page. It's up on the Instagram pages of Paul Hebert from Time Enforcers on Instagram, by the way. You should all give him a follow. And thank you, Raph. I appreciate that. Yes, it was an honor and a privilege to do voiceover work because I haven't really I did stuff early on in my broadcasting school. Like we did PSAs and sweepers and promos and all that kind of stuff because I was working in radio at that time. But I've never really done any voiceover until now. So I made my voice acting debut on the Kickstarter for Time Enforcers number 2. Thank you, Paul Hebert. Thank you to Raphael for connecting me with Paul and Paul, all the incredible things he's doing. Check him out. It's wonderful. But yeah, once again, this isn't about me. It's about all of you. But thank you, Raphael. I appreciate it. I know, but you got your sigh back, which is great. And now we can let it go. So Essence St. Clair.
Let it go.
No, please don't. Please. No. I'm one of the few people who's willing to admit this on national television, Essence St. Clair, but I am not a fan of Frozen. I saw the movie.
I've never seen it, so.
You're not missing much. You're not missing anything. Skip it. Watch Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Watch The Terminator. Watch The Never Ending Story. Bring a box of tissues, like Bobby and Raphael were saying. Watch great movies from the 80s. Don't worry about Frozen. It's not relevant. But what is relevant is these wonderful roundtable of writers that you can follow on social media. So Essen St. Clair, the queen of this show. If someone wants to know more about you and the incredible things you're doing over there, and to purchase copies of your books, more importantly, where can they follow you?
Yeah, so you can, I'm primarily social on Facebook and Instagram, but I do also have a Threads, a TikTok, and starting a YouTube channel. But if you head on over to my website, snstclair.com, you can sign up for my monthly newsletter, get behind the scenes information, VIP access to behind the scenes, and take part in giveaways. And then you can also purchase books directly from me that are also signed.
It's the best thing in the world, supporting indie authors and buying signed copies of their books. Am I right? So yeah, awesome, Saul. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm sorry that your brothers from other mothers couldn't make it tonight. They failed you. I know. We're going to throw them massive amounts of shade in the Discord, and we're probably going to DM them on Instagram too, right? Because we follow each other on Instagram. So it'll happen. But thank you for being here. Appreciate you all the same. DM Weber, you good sir. Where can people follow you on social media? Congratulations on one of your books being sold tonight. One of our writers sitting in this building bought a copy of your book. So congrats, brother.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I am going to try and get a YouTube channel up here in the not too distant future. And then as far as my website, dmoverbooks.com. Again, I'm trying to get signed copies on the website soon. Once I get kind of settled into deployment and I have a permanent place of living, then that should be a little bit quicker to get up. And then all the links are available through the website as well. I've got a subscriber link. So, anyone wants to go over there, subscribe, get insider information on what's coming next. There you go. Go right to it.
Awesome sauce. Thank you, sir, for being here. Greatly appreciate it. Raphael, you good, sir. Someone wants to know about you and the incredible things you're doing over there, your pearls of wisdom and those books that you shared, those 3 books. Oh, my gosh. Well, where can they follow you on social media for all your incredible projects?
Well, hello there, Apple Bites. I am Written Ralph from Bitten Apple TV. So if you want to go check out our shows, which is Mondays, Apple Bite, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and the Written Writ on Wednesdays, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, go check us out at Bitten Apple TV. And of course, you can check me out on Vocal, as I was saying, as the Written Writ, where you can see a plethora of my writings there as well.
Awesome sauce. That was Bossa Nova. Chevy Nova? Nah. That was excellent. Yeah. Let's have some pizza. I'm starving. Anyway, thank you for being here, Raphael. We love you, brother. Bobby Nash, you good sir. The man with 1,000 words, the man with 1,000 stories and 1,000 faces. If someone wants to know more about you and the incredible stuff that you're doing over there on social media, where can they follow it?
I'm all over. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, you name it. But BobbyNash.com is my website. There's links to everything there, all my social media, all my books. You can buy books directly from me as well. Just shoot me an email and say, I'm interested in this one. I will sign and send a book to you. I also, if you buy a book from me, I do envelope art, which I draw on your envelope, some character telling the post office, don't bend this package. And then, but I do commissions of artwork and things like that through the website. I'm all over social media right now. I do have for 2 more days the Kickstarter for my new novel, Nowhere to Run. It's fully funded already, but we have 2 more days. And so if anyone's interested in getting in a last minute thing to get a copy of that, plus some cool swag and envelope art, these were actually are for the Kickstarter one, packages to go out next week. So that's me.
Thank you, sir, for being here. Do really appreciate it. I'm going to take the liberty of posting a link to that Kickstarter in the comments here as we're going along. So, yes, links in the comment section where you can follow all these incredible creators and writers. My name is Ryan. I'm just a simple man trying to make his way in the universe. So follow me across all forms of social media, simply at and I quote channel. If you want to check out my short story, it's called Wolf of the West. It's a part of Western Tales Volume 1, published by Veritas Entertainment. It is available on Amazon in ebook, paperback, and hardcover. There's a link to it in the description of this video. Also, I want to let you know that we have merch. We have hoodies, we have shirts, we have stickers you can add to your water bottles, coffee mugs, notebooks, stationery, all that kinds of great stuff. You can find that on our Redbubble store. Links are in the description below, or they are linked in our social media bios is what I was looking for there. My gosh, are my words being a bit messy? Goodness gracious, what am I doing here? And yes, the link to Bobby Nash's Kickstarter is in the comment section of this video, so check that out. Back it if you can. Nowhere to Run is going to be fabulous when it gets out to the masses, all that good stuff. Once again, Midnight Quarters on Saturdays, 12 p.m. EST. Movie watch-alongs are on Friday night, 7 p.m. EST. And we will be back with another episode of the Writer Showcase on Saturday, August the 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And let me just say, the lineup we have for that is pretty incredible. This lineup is incredible. They're all incredible. Yes, yes, yes. We're not playing favorites here, fellas. But yeah, it's going to be a great lineup. It's going to be a great time. So I hope you can join us for that. Also, help us on Instagram reach over 1,000 followers on Instagram at And I Quote Channel. Once we do, we'll have a giveaway. I want to give away some stuff. So let's do it. Let's make it happen. Teamwork makes the dream work, ladies and gentlemen. So do not forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when the videos go up or they go live. Remember, life is better when supporting indie creators from all over the world. Take a look.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
I'm a little tired, I'm a little wired, and I think I deserve a little appreciation.